minutes. The Joe Pag Show will start in 3 minutes.
Let's go, people. 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
The Joe Pag Show will start in 2 minutes.
What up, what up, what up? Let's go. IPTO, let's go. Thanks.
The Joe Pag Show will start in 1 minute.
This is the Joe Pag Show. To talk to Joe, call 888-941-PAGS. And now, it's Joe Pags.
Great radio stations across the land, also on the stream, also on the podcast. That is Sam, that is Polo, and I am Joe. Glad to have you along for the ride. So there's a lot going on today. The big scuttlebutt. Sam, have you ever used that word in your life, scuttlebutt?
No.
The big scuttlebutt appears to be the fact that people want lower crime in D.C. The big issue, the big story, the top thing appears to be, how dare you want to cut down on crime in D.C.? There was a piece of video that I had queued up yesterday that I did not use, and this is going to cause flashbacks for some people. It's Karine Jean-Pierre. I know, Calm down. Can't believe he's going to play her. Calm down. Oh, I'm using, actually, my inner voice was for the listeners that time.
Oh, great. Thank you.
I used the inner voice for the listeners. By the way, we've got a couple of great interviews today. It's going to be Markwayne Mullin, the U.S. Senator from the great state of Oklahoma. And we do have a bit of a pose-off in the video, but I don't think you're going to see all of that. You'll hear some of it. We'll talk about it a little bit in the beginning. You have to watch the whole long form later, but we have a great interview with him on the D.C. crime, on the D.C. federalization of the police, of the Putin-Trump sit-down tomorrow in Anchorage, Alaska, and a lot more. Do not miss that hour number 2. Hour number 3, it'll be Florida Attorney General, the AG in Florida, James Uthemeier. I actually went with Uthemeier for a second. He said, no, it's not. I said, Kristen Welker called you Uthemeier. You didn't correct her. He's like, no, it's going to be Uthemeier. Oh, yeah.
Well, he's correcting you today.
Well, he didn't correct me on the actual video. I'm giving you some inside baseball. Inside baseball. I don't know. Is the inside voice coming out a lot today? Is that what's going on?
It is. Are you thinking a lot today?
All of a sudden, it's a thing. I can't believe she asked me that on the air. All right, so the D.C. crime issue has been an issue for a long time. And I think sometimes in this country and as human beings, we want to somehow rationalize things and go, yeah, there are a couple of tough crime areas in D.C. It happens everywhere. But that's not the case. Other than like the White House and the Capitol, it's crime-riddled. To the point to where allegedly some commander was lying about how much crime was going on, lessening how stiff the charges were for some crimes that were going on, just to fudge the books and the numbers to make them look better than they are. So we wonder why is it that criminals aren't afraid of D.C.? Well, it turns out, I'm sorry for the flashback. I'm going to play some Karine Jean-Pierre, and she's going to explain when she was the press secretary how they've actually lowered and lessened the penalties for some crimes there.
I did talk to the team, and we have a couple of things that I just want to lay out for all of you. And
she talked to the team, it turns out,
on what the D.C. bill does. It reduces maximum penalties for offenses like murders and other homicides, armed home invasion burglaries, armed carjackings, as I mentioned, armed robberies, unlawful gun possession, and some sexual assault offenses.
She says it like it's no big deal. Yeah, we're lessening the penalties for murders, rapes, sexual assault, armed robbery, home invasion. We're just going to lessen the penalties for that. So, of course, President Trump sends in the National Guard. He federalizes the police in D.C., and he says, let's stop that garbage and cut down on crime. And, of course, Hakeem Jeffries, who is wired in such a way that he's got TDS, Trump Derangement Syndrome, and he can't possibly agree with anything, even if it's good for the people of D.C. Jeffries, the House Minority Leader, comes out and says this.
I stand with the people of Washington, D.C. I stand with Mayor Bowser, and we are strongly supporting their efforts to stop this scheme to take over the police department in the District of Columbia, which is nothing more than an illegitimate power grab.
He meant to say it's nothing less than an illegitimate power grab, but he's not very smart. So let me translate what he just said. I'm Hakeem Jeffries, and I stand with the murderers, and I stand with the rapists, and I stand with the home invaders, and I stand for the armed robbers, I stand for the carjackers, I stand with all of them. Because there's no way we want crime to go down in D.C. And again, I'm dumbfounded by it, because even if you disagree with Trump on everything else, you don't agree to lessen crime in D.C., even if you disagree on everything else, his hair color, how he wears his suit, how he golfs, where he lives, you can disagree with everything. You don't like his policies on tariffs and trade and the border. You can't really make a good argument that you're against lessening crime in D.C. I don't know what the argument can be. I'm actually confused by it. Because, now again, we already know that Hakeem Jeffries he's not very smart. Saying what he just said doesn't make any sense. But politically speaking alone, doesn't it look better for the minority leader in the House to say, look, I'm going to hold my nose on this one, but I really like what the president's doing here. Get mad at me if you want. But when he does something right, I'm going to say so. And then throw in something like a broken clock is right twice a day. You know what I mean? Just, if you agree with him on something, just agree. Trying to find a reason to not agree with lowering crime at our nation's capital just seems to be, I don't know, some sort of gymnastics and linguistic gymnastics that they're unnecessary. Disagree with them on everything else today, but come out and say, yeah, I agree with that one. What else you got? That's it. The president was asked about this today, and he says what people feel about the takeover of D.C.
People are so happy to see our military going into D.C. and getting these thugs out. As you know, we arrested a lot of people yesterday. We arrested a lot of people today. We're getting people that have arrest records that you wouldn't believe. 28 arrests, 15 arrests, brutal people. And we're going to have to do something about this cashless bail.
He's right. Cashless bail. What is that? Why do they even call it bail? What does that mean? If you're not giving cash to get bail, to get out, just call it what it is. We're just letting them out. And a lot of that's happening in a lot of these high crime areas, riddled with crime. Many of them run by far left-wing progressive communist dorks that don't care to make us safe or to make sure that we're safe. It's kind of crazy to me. Really is. He continues.
People are so happy to see our military going into D.C. and getting these thugs out. As you know, we arrested a lot of people yesterday. We arrested a lot of people today.
He's already said that. Let's have him say something else.
President, on D.C. crime, sir. On D.C. crime.
Some reporter steps up. Mr. President, on D.C. crime, sir. On D.C. crime.
Are you concerned at all that some federal officers that are helping D.C. police might be being pulled away from other high priority assignments?
Like what? Like what?
Terrorism, for example.
Oh, really? Terrorism?
The guy says, are you afraid pulling them off of more important things? And Trump's like what? Terrorism? Because terrorism is seeing this incredible increase, I guess, because we're stopping the crime in D.C. What a stupid question.
They'll stop terrorism as part of what they're doing right now. No. The soldiers that we have, first of all, we have plenty of them, long beyond what that you have here. We're just using a very small force. You know, in Washington, D.C., they have thousands of police. They have a lot of police, but the police weren't allowed to do their job. We have a lot of great ones, and you have some that weren't so good, to be honest, but they weren't allowed to do their job. But now they are allowed to do their job, and essentially it's only 2 days, but you look at the numbers already, they're dropping, and no, they're not being pulled off for anything.
Mr. President?
So dumb. What a dumb question. Because suddenly something else is going to be harmed by stopping crime in D.C. That's just legitimately stupid. And then I guess he couldn't help it. I think he goes after Elizabeth Warren here.
It's so vicious what they do. Elizabeth Warren said she was an Indian. We call her Pocahontas. She's a liar. She lied her whole career. Based on the fact that she was an Indian, she was able to get into certain colleges, get certain jobs, get into certain universities to work there. She's a liar and a mean person. She's a nut job. I watched her the other night. She's all hopped up endorsing a communist in New York City, and she was all excited and jumping up and down. She's got to take a drug test. She really does. She's got to take a drug test. There's no way somebody can act that way and be normal. What she's done to our financial institutions, she destroys people. Do you know that you had a lot of great banks in the Midwest and banks that loaned to farmers and others, and they went out of business? She put them out of business. Stone cold mean. Banks that were open 150 years, family banks that supplied the farmers and manufacturers and others, and she put them out of business. She's a mean, horrible human being.
I mean, not afraid to say it. Elizabeth Warren, we call her Pocahontas. That she was an Indian, she's a liar. I just love when he goes after people like that, because these people thought they were somehow untouchable. These people thought they were somehow the bomb. These people thought that they had the upper hand and they were going to move to progressivism in this country. And then the American people woke up. Then they woke up. Your thoughts about this D.C. debacle? I mean, I don't think it's a story, except they keep on making it a story. And let me explain what I mean by that. As a former news director in television news stations, as a former TV news anchor, as a former radio, news person, I'm now also a news person / educator / entertainer / fart sound maker. I just thought I'd throw that in there. In this role, I'm not making the decisions about what's covered in your nightly news, but I do make the decisions about what I cover on my show. This, to me, is a non-story that they keep on making a story. Why do they keep making it a story? Because the left wants us to believe that somehow it's bad to stop crime in D.C. I just want your thoughts on this. Is there some downside you can see? Is this something that we should continue? By the way, it's only for 30 days, and then the House and the Senate would have to say continue it past 30 days. I do ask Markwayne Mullin about this later. Why did I say Muller? Markwayne Mullin about this later. And by the way, we're bros. We're tight now. Sam, I showed you that little piece of video. Bit of a flex off.
Oh, y'all are bros. I mean, bros.
We're down. So, so your thoughts about that? Do you continue it past the 30 days? I don't know if 30 days is going to be enough, but I don't see this as controversial. This is one of those stories. Hey, in other news, they put the National Guard in Washington, D.C. to cut back on crime. Hey, let's go to weather and biff. I mean, that's really what we should be doing. But instead, we're having a discussion about why it's somehow bad to cut down on crime in D.C. because it's President Donald Trump that wanted to do it. So odd to me. 833-JOE-PAGS, 833-563-7247, or go to joepags.com. Go to joepags.com, scroll down, click on Contact. If you want to see the full interview of Ken Paxton, the Attorney General from the great state of Texas from yesterday, doing very good business on YouTube, just go to joepags.com/YouTube. You can check it out there. Let me tell you about Native Path Krill Oil. I'm taking this every day. I like how it's making me feel. I feel a bit of a difference. Been taking it for a little while now. The reality is healthcare costs are skyrocketing. Big pharmas raking in billions of dollars, and it's anybody's guess what insurance companies will cover tomorrow. Why not do something preventive for your heart health? The American Heart Association put out some research. They say about 3 grams of omega-3s every day can help support healthy blood pressure. That sold me. It could sell you too. It should. Anyway, give it a try. Don't make the mistake of believing that fish oil you're taking is sufficient. I started taking Native Path Antarctic Krill Oil, and again, I like it. It gives you omega-3s your body can actually absorb better than fish oil, plus that antioxidant everybody's talking about, even though it's hard to pronounce, astaxanthin. Okay, it doesn't just help your heart. Also can support brain health, reduce inflammation, even help ease joint pain and stiffness. That's a game changer if you're active like I am. Why wait? It's simple. It's a smart way to take care of yourself now, and I'll get you started with 66% off and free shipping. Go to krillreport.com, krillreport.com, KRILL report.com, and we're back after this.
This is the Joe Pags Show.
Clear.
All right, Ruth, thank you. 51 months. I appreciate the resub, and you're very welcome. I thank you for coming by every day and supporting what we do. Thank you. Bit subs, gift subs over on Twitch. Subs, gift subs, and Rumble Rants on Rumble. And, of course, memberships, gift memberships, and super chats over on YouTube. We appreciate you hanging out. This is a live nationally syndicated radio show. This is a commercial break on the radio station. So I get to talk to you guys and gals in the meantime. What's going on, people? Good to see everybody. I appreciate all the chats happening on all three of the platforms. Let's go. Sounds good, Ruth. I like it. What's going on, Big? Glad to have you. 833 Joe Pags. 833-563-7247. 833-563-7247. You can go to the website too, joepags.com. Scroll down, click on contact, and we'll make that happen as well. We'll talk about Anchorage. We understand it's a buzz. It's all ready to go for the big meeting tomorrow. We'll see what you expect out of that meeting tomorrow. For some reason, the Washington Post is alleging that Trump is hinting that Zelensky might show up. No. Come on. What's the matter with you? First, though, we want to finish up on what's going on with D.C. crime. Caroline Levitt just doesn't mince anymore. She just gets right down to it.
According to a Washington Post poll, 65% of D.C. residents say that crime is a very serious problem in the District of Columbia. And while Democrats want to rant and rave and coddle criminals, President Trump wants to put them behind bars. And that's what this task force is focused on doing for the next 28 days.
Damn, Caroline, you know what I'm saying? Damn. You tell them the way it is, young lady. And then, of course, there's this from Jamie Comer. House Oversight will ask D.C. mayor for responsibility, says Comer. Anna Cutts, or something like that, said this on News Nation. The House Oversight Committee's upcoming hearing with the Washington, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser will focus on what it looks like once the National Guard pulls out of the district, according to committee chair Representative James Comer. Republican from Kentucky, friend of ours. We've had him on many times. This isn't going to be a permanent military presence in Washington, D.C., Comer said in an interview on News Nation's Morning in America. Trump has urged Congress to pass a crime bill that would extend his D.C. takeover past its 30-day limit. On Wednesday, Trump said he would declare a national emergency to continue the federal control if Congress fails to help him secure long-term extensions. Comer said he wants to grill Bowser, City Council Chair Phil Mendelson, and Attorney General Brian Schwalb, Schwalb, S-C-H-W-A-L-B. I'm used to saying Schwab. Do you pronounce the L? Sam, you pronouncing the L?
Well, you did.
S-C-H-W-A-L-B.
Calm Schwab.
Calm Schwab? What was that? Oh, anything on that?
I think you take the L. I don't know if you pronounce the L. So
gotcha. I'm not going to take the L. No, I'm the W. But, yeah, it's Brian Schwab, or as Sam said, Calm Schwab.
See? Thank you.
I don't know about that. We'll see. We'll have to get him on the show. Hey, how do you pronounce it? Then just hang up on him. Well, Comer pointed to a weak city council judiciary for D.C.'s troubles. He told News Nation that Bowser has to take some responsibility, too. The hearing is scheduled for September. The Trump administration's crackdown on D.C. and potentially other cities comes after the district recorded 26% drop in violent crime since last year, according to police data. And again, they're now using that. You have to couch that with there's a commander who's on leave because the allegation is he was fudging the numbers. You have to say that every time you use that lie about 26%. You have to. You must. You have to. Hello? Man, I hate when they do that. Comer said no Republican wants to federalize the local police department or station National Guard troops on U.S. streets, but drastic measures are necessary in D.C. That's where we are right now. The president in Washington, D.C., Comer said. And if it works in Washington, D.C., I can see that expanding, which I find interesting because I don't think they can. I don't think they can in cities that aren't a territory or a district like Washington, D.C. is. I don't think you can. I think they'd like to. I think I would like to. I'd like to see crime way down. But I don't want cities to be taken over by National Guard unless there's a problem that the locals refuse to deal with. And in D.C., it's different because the Congress does have some purview. The president does have some purview. It's not a state. It doesn't have a governor. Okay, it's got a mayor. It's a city. And it's a city or a district that is controlled by, I mean, think about it. Our entire apparatus of government is right there. Now, if you're talking about sending them into L.A., there better be a good reason, like there was with the attacks on the ICE facilities. When there were major violent protests breaking out because ICE was doing its job. So I see sending them in there and even mobilizing the Marines, not sending them in, not telling them to go and shoot people or fight a war, mobilizing them to support the National Guard. All of that appears to me to be on the up and up. But if, Des Moines, Iowa says, hey, our crime is out of control, I don't want to see the President of the United States send in a bunch of National Guard. I don't want to see that. And I don't think that he's planning that. I could be wrong. What I want to see is the locals be held accountable. What I want to see is if there's something so out of control that the locals refuse to stop the mayhem, the death, and the attacks, then maybe you consider it. Got to be something that is absolutely an emergency. And in D.C., it's a different animal because in D.C., again, it's a district, and the central government does have oversight on that district. That's why James Comer can bring them in. So I wonder what you think about that. 833-JOE-PAGS, 833-563-7247, joepags.com. Hundreds of arrests have been made already. Do you want to see the president have the ability to mobilize National Guard to any city USA? Or does that overstep the boundary? It does a bit for me unless there's a legitimate emergency going on. If that's going on, I'm down. Doing it because I don't like the numbers. I don't want to see that happen unless, of course, the locals and the governors call in some help. 833-JOE-PAGS, joepags.com. Stay right here.
This is the Joe Pags Show.
Clear.
What's going on, people? Got a hype train happening right now on Twitch. Let's make that happen. Jump on board. Brad with the 200, Quay with the new 27 now with the Prime, the updated subscription. Earl, the 500 bits. Thank you, Earl. Appreciate that. Brad, 200 more. Thank you, Brad. 500 from Tilden Trails. Thank you. Appreciate you, Tilden. Let's go. Will it hit a level 3 today? If you do a super chat or a rumble rant, I will call you out, by the way. Get called out. I'll say your name and everything. And thanks for that hype, people. I appreciate those who stepped up, as always. Thank you. Boyd gave in some love, too. 300. Thanks, Boyd. Commercial break in the radio show. We'll be back in a moment. Great to have you. Thanks. I appreciate you stopping by. 1 hour from now, Markwayne Mullin. He is, of course, the U.S. Senator, one of the U.S. Senators from the great state of Oklahoma. Make sure you stick around for that. It's a great conversation about the D.C. takeover, about D.C. crime. I mean, he gets into personal say. He doesn't wear a seatbelt in D.C. He does not wear, when he drives down the road, he doesn't wear a seatbelt. Paula, can you think of why a U.S. Senator would not wear a seatbelt while driving in D.C.?
In case if he needs to jump out, I guess.
Yep. Exactly right. In case somebody wants to carjack him, in case somebody wants to try to hold a senator hostage or something like that, he said it's that bad in D.C. he doesn't wear his seatbelt. He's going to explain exactly why that is and when he started doing that and all of that during the interview about an hour from now. Don't miss that. It's a very cool interview. And he's wearing a short sleeve shirt, so of course I went to the workout stuff. We had to talk about that a little bit too. We just had to. So make sure you stick around for that. We also have on this program the Attorney General of the great state of Florida. His name is James Uthemeier, and he's a very, very smart guy. We talk a lot about alligator Alcatraz and how there's a federal judge, I guess, in Miami who paused any further construction for 2 weeks at alligator Alcatraz at the same time that the governor, Ron DeSantis, is announcing another prison in Florida. They're not playing around in Florida. So make sure you stick around for that. Right now, they're talking about the D.C. crime stuff. Do you think the president, as he sees success in Washington, D.C., bringing the National Guard in, should consider bringing it to other cities? I think it's different because it's a district of Columbia. It's Washington, D.C., doesn't have a governor. See, normally you would need the governor to come in and request the National Guard. Now, the mayor can request the National Guard, and again, it's documented, fully documented, that, and by Kash Patel, who was the deputy, or I think he was the chief of staff of the Department of Defense at the time, now the FBI director. He says the president offered 10,000 plus National Guard troops to Nancy Pelosi, who the Speaker of the House has a lot of say over the Capitol Police, the Capitol Police chief, and the mayor of Washington, D.C., Muriel Bowser, and they all turned it down. In fact, there is a famous letter now circulating where Muriel Bowser is saying, no thanks, I don't want the National Guard. And you see what happened on January 6th. So, yes, she can ask for it. She's not smart enough to ask for it. And President Trump is sick and tired of hearing about staffers who work at the Capitol, having the snot beat out of them as they're trying to go home or go to work. People being carjacked like Henry Cuellar, a U.S. representative. People who are fending off those who would like to mug them as they run away from them in the streets. Yeah, you send somebody in, but again, because it's the district, there is much more control and purview available. Do you want that in your town? Suddenly the National Guard's in there. Is it so bad that you think that it warrants it? Or should it be a legitimate emergency every time? 833-JOE-PAGS, 833-563-7247, joepags.com. Want to hear from you. Let me go to Bill, who's in Lavernia. Bill, what's going on? Hi.
Hey, man. Hey, I love the show, man.
Thank you.
You and Sam got a great cohesiveness going on there and banter back and forth.
Thank you.
As good as your other one there, guy. So I do want to say National Guard ought to be fine, especially if it takes the time to polish it, get it where it needs to be, and make sure the people that are supposed to be doing it are doing their job.
Well, a couple of things. Well, Bill, hold on a second. Hold on. First of all, you know why Sam and I get along and have such good banter, right?
Why's that?
She's my daughter.
I know that.
Oh, I figured that you didn't know that. It sounded like. And the second thing, so you're cool with the National Guard coming in any city USA, or you mean you're talking about D.C. specifically?
And particularly, I'm talking about D.C. right now. Do what needs to be done there because that's our country. That represents our country.
Yes.
I think back about California when them suckers cleaned up just because the Chi-Coms, as Trump would say, or the California people, for the Chinese. Why don't we take that same pride in our great capital? So
I'm with you. I hear you, Bill. I hear you, and they do have the ability to do it. He said suckers. I saw it. Polo flinched a little bit. They did do that, and I believe that it was actually Rush Limbaugh who was saying Chi-Coms. For me, when we saw what Gavin Newsom was able to do in no time flat in cleaning up the streets of California, when we saw that, it completely blew my mind. I went, wow. Not only if they want to, they can, but they did. And when you're talking about cleaning things up in a city that you know needs to be cleaned up, but you only do it because a foreign delegation or a foreign leader was coming in, that's embarrassing. It's really embarrassing. But I really do want to hone down on this. Do you think this should happen in any city USA? Chicago will have this weekend dozens of shootings. It will happen, and it won't be widely reported. Many of those dozens who will be shot will die, and it won't be reported very widely. It is a scourge. It is completely out of control. In fact, just on a whim, let me pull up Grok, which is the AI over on X. Let me just ask Grok a simple question. How many shootings were there? This is very interesting when I do this live on the air. Were there in Chicago last weekend? Let's just see. Let's see what it comes up with. It's searching, it's looking, it's going through its resources, it's checking all the websites. Data available for the weekend of August 8th through 10th, 2025 in Chicago with varying reports on the number of shootings and victims. Here's a summary based on the information. CWE Chicago reported 38 people shot, 4 fatally over the weekend, ending August 11th, 2025, with Sunday, August 10th being the second most violent day of the year with 23 shooting victims just on Sunday. This includes a mass shooting in Austin, in the Austin neighborhood where 6 people were shot, 1 fatally. I want you to understand what we're talking about here. Now, that is a city that is rampant with crime. That is a city where people are dying every single weekend. The CWB station in Chicago said 37. 38 actually. I'm seeing some people reporting into my chat. It's actually 38, according to that station in Chicago. And did you hear about it? If you don't live in Chicago or Illinois, did you hear about that? Even in Chicago, they're reporting 38 shootings, 4 of them ended people's lives. So in a city like that, run by an idiot like Brandon Johnson, who, by the way, yesterday said Trump doesn't like him because he's too smart. And that's what he said, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, Brandon Johnson said Trump doesn't like a smart black man. I don't know. Who's the smartest black man you know, Sam?
Ben Carson.
Dr. Ben Carson, who had a choice between being a rocket scientist and a brain surgeon. And he decided to go with brain surgery.
I mean, come on.
Guess what his brother's doing?
What?
He's a rocket scientist.
Of course.
Duh.
Of course he is.
And Donald Trump not only likes Ben Carson, they're very good friends. And in fact, he was his HUD secretary in the first term. And Carson has told us many times, the good doctor has said, if the president calls on me, I will absolutely come. Now, Brandon Johnson thinks Trump is afraid of smart black men. I think that's something coming from a man who's not very smart. Because if you see who Trump surrounds himself with, they're all very smart, and they're of all races and ancestral backgrounds. So stupid. Just so dumb, man. So dumb. I mean, honestly, when you say something that stupid, well, 38 people are shot, most of them on a Sunday in your little town. Maybe you should focus on the crime in the town. No, he's more focused on DEI, CRT, only hiring minorities for jobs. I mean, this is who the guy is. And saying the Chicago PD will never, ever work with ICE. In other words, Brandon Johnson announced, in his ultimate wisdom, his infinite, incredible wisdom, he announced that we're not going to cut back on crime, and I'm just going to keep on doing what I'm doing. In fact, we will stop those who are here to help us cut back on crime because we don't want that done. Lester, Daytona Beach, what's going on? Hi.
Hi, Joe. Thank you. You asked if the National Guard should be sent to D.C. And I'm thinking this. It was just yesterday that the chief of police of D.C. admitted that she did not know what the term chain of command meant.
Right.
When someone asked her who was going to be the chain of command.
It's true. I saw that.
Well, and how can there be any kind of order if the D.C. chief of police does not understand the word chain of command?
Well, no, it's a major problem, and it wasn't just a misunderstanding. She literally stopped, Lester, as you saw. Somebody said, what's the chain of command going to look like? Like, they wanted to know, does the president, is he directing things? Is Pam Bondi directing things? Is the police chief? Is the mayor? And a very simple question to the police chief made her go, what do you mean? And the question was, Lester, thank you. It's a very good point. The question literally was, what's the chain of command? She didn't know. And then Mayor Bowser walks up and says, I'll take that question. Because the chief of police couldn't take the question? I'm confused. Sam, what is the actual quote from Brandon Johnson?
So the actual quote is, Trump has always been intimidated by the intellectual prowess of black men.
What a dumb, you know what I mean? I don't understand. And that just sounds like somebody who has no intellectual prowess at all to say something like that. I'd like to see him in a debate with Dr. Ben. I'd like to see that happen. Hell, I'd like to see him in a debate with AJ. You know what I mean?
That would be hilarious.
I think that'd be amazing. And at some point, AJ will say, I'm not going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe.
Right?
And by the way, that's Polo's fault. Probably 10 years ago, you mentioned the banana in the tailpipe. We were talking about Beverly Hills Cop, and AJ took it from there. I blame Polo.
You're welcome.
It's what we do. Adam, San Antonio, let's go.
Joe, great work as always. You know, Joe, we've been ignoring for too long in the North and the South, and Joe, it only hurts black Americans when you ignore black-on-black crime. You cook the overall numbers. You know, you're soft on violent crime. Like everything else, you know, it's racism, the fight crime. You know, black people deserve to live safe like everybody else.
Yes.
And you punish all criminals equally. You know, no light sayings for somebody because of their race. That's racism. And everybody needs to be taught, Joe, if you don't take care of your kids, you're not a man. I'm sorry. You don't take care of your kids, you're not a man. Thanks, Joe.
100%, Adam. Thank you. Out of San Antonio from our flagship 550 KTSA. You know, it makes me crazy. I went to high school at Atlantic High School in Delray Beach, Florida. Those of you listening on WFTL in South Florida, you might think that's on Linton Boulevard. It wasn't. It was on Seacrest. It was on Seacrest Avenue between, I think, 2nd Avenue. I can't think of the other road that it was in between. It was just south of the Boynton Delray Beach line. Those around the country, don't worry, I'll digress only for a second. The majority of those who went to school at Atlantic High School were black. And I not only don't have a problem with this, some of my best friends were in the band with me, just happened to be black. There was a part of Delray Beach that was predominantly black, and probably still is, and I always wanted that area to be just as safe as where I lived. And I lived far away. They were actually busing us from far away to go to that school because of integration, or desegregation. Because of that, I always had this wonderment. Why is it that society, at least those who think they're the elites in society, just don't seem to care about black people except every 4 years when it's time to go and vote? They just don't seem to care. I heard stories from my friends about how different their neighborhood was from my neighborhood. And I didn't understand why that was okay and why nothing was being done and why the central government appeared to be giving different rules to black Americans, white Americans, and Hispanic Americans, and so on. Why can't we cut down on crime in every neighborhood? And if right now, because of how politicians set it up, there is more black-on-black crime affecting black Americans than any other, why don't we go after that? And not only is it not racist to go after black-on-black crime, it is safer for black communities that don't want the crime. You've got politicians alleging that black people don't feel safe around police. BS. My friends that grew up in the neighborhoods that were predominantly black wanted more police presence because it made them safer. Why can't we do better than that? 833-JOE-PAGS, 833-563-7247, joepags.com. Want to hear from you. When you go to joepags.com, scroll down, click on Contact. Love to hear from you. Love to hear what you've got to say about all this. And don't forget to go over and check out the long-form version of my interview with Ken Paxton, the Attorney General, the great state of Texas. We had a great conversation yesterday about D.C. crime, about these legislators that ran from their duty here in Texas, and an awful lot more. Can you remove a prosecutor that isn't prosecuting? Can you remove a Soros-funded prosecutor or not? Unfortunately, in Texas, it's very hard to do. In other states, not as hard. Go check it out, joepags.com/YouTube. joepags.com/YouTube. Let me tell you about Eden Pure. The Thunderstorm Air Purifier is awesome. The OxyLeaf 3 rocks. It's here. The 3 means it's the third generation. The incredible success of the second generation meant let's do something and step it up even more, and they've done that. 2 technologies now involved. You can use both. You can use one or the other. Whichever does the air the way you want the air to be in your space, that's the one you go with. It goes after 99.9% of bacteria and viruses, pet dander, smoke, dust, mold, whatever's in the air, it's going to go after it. You don't have to get in your hands and knees try to find where the source is. It will seek it out and destroy it. Any smell is going to disappear after a few seconds. And right now, you could save some money. And you don't have to buy those cover-up sprays and those candles to try to mask what's going on. Actually take this to the office or take this on vacation or use it in any room in the house. It's going to be great for you. EdenPureDeals.com. EdenPureDeals.com. The code is PAGS3, P-A-G-S, the number 3. Get 3 units for less than $200 right now. EdenPureDeals.com. The code is PAGS3, and we're back after this.
You're listening to Joe Pags.
Clear.
Let's go, people. What's going on? I appreciate you hanging out. Twitch, you know how to do it. Subs, gift subs. You can use your Amazon Prime to sub, and also bits. Fair. Thanks for the 49 months. I appreciate that resub. Let's go. Over on YouTube, if you're liking what I'm laying down, if you like that I'm putting it up here every night, you can do super chats and give me a message that I'll say. You can also do memberships and gift memberships. And on Rumble, the Rumble rants, the subs and the gift subs. Let's go. 833-JOE-PAGS, 833-563-7247, joepags.com. Posted a video right before the program. Delia Ramirez, the U.S. representative out of Illinois, she's the one that said yesterday that ICE is a terrorist organization. Hey, Tom Homan, you're going to this, that, and the other, and you're not going to get rid of our rights. Something like that. This is the same woman that said at the Pan American get-together, the meeting that they do, I guess, every year, that she is Guatemalan first before she's an American. That's the same person. She's the daughter of 2 illegal aliens that had her as an anchor baby. That's why she's a citizen. And she's married to a guy who's a DACA recipient. So I did a video on that. It's over on Instagram at Joe Talk Show or joepags.com/Instagram. It's also up on TikTok, joepags.com/TikTok. And you'll see that's the latest video right past my pinned videos. And you'll see that, again, people don't believe that these leftists are that loony in the House of Representatives. I don't think anybody should be representing a state in the United States of America if she thinks her allegiance lies with Guatemala first. I think that's a little bit different. We go to the phone lines. Lee is in Minneapolis. Hi, Lee. What's going on?
Hey, Mr. Joe. How's it going?
Living the dream, my friend. Talk to me.
Anyone who thinks that Trump has a problem with black people is a dingbat. The first person who won the very successful show Apprentice was a black man, Kwame. He was the first guy to win Apprentice.
I remember that.
So, right, yeah. And the thing of it is Trump doesn't let black people use that as an excuse for why they can't make it, because he meets the most successful black people, and whether it's Oprah or Bobby Brown, he knows that you can do anything you can if you put your mind to it, and it doesn't matter if you're black. My own cousin is Ken Norton. He was champion of the world.
Wow, great boxer.
His son. Yeah, his son, Ken Norton Jr., has 3 Super Bowl rings back-to-back, 2 with Dallas, and then he got traded to San Francisco 49ers.
Right.
They went 3 Super Bowl rings back-to-back. So you can be black, and you can succeed anywhere in the world.
Exactly.
And Trump knows this, because Trump has met the most successful black women and men, Oprah.
I got to hit it. The music's going to start. Lee, I want you to call back as often as you can. I love that. He's absolutely right. I didn't want the music to blow our eardrums out as it's done before on the program, but he's absolutely right. You know, he has surrounded himself by the most successful people possible. He is not surrounding himself with dummies, and he's not afraid of anybody. Remember, he got an award from the NAACP at one point. Lee, call back again when I've got more time. I love to talk to you, my man. Thank you. It's 833-JOE-PAGS, 833-563-7247, joepags.com. Do not touch that dial. We're going to get into much more stuff, including Social Security has an anniversary. What does that mean to you? And Markwayne Mullin next hour. Keep it here.
Joe Pags.
Clear.
Hey guys on the phone lines, we are going to switch up the topic here, so I do have to let you run. So keep listening and definitely call back soon.
This is a commercial break at the top of the hour. News, traffic, weather, sports on the radio stations. 2 more hours of the show to come. So if you like it on YouTube, spread the word. Make sure you stick around. Also on Rumble, spread the word. On Twitch, spread the word. And we'll be back. Stay here.
The Joe Pag Show will start in 5 minutes. The Joe Pag Show will start in 4 minutes.
Wait, great question. She is not. She is not. And she should be censured if not kicked out. Live on YouTube, text Tom. That's right. Live on YouTube. Spread the word. Let's get those numbers up.
The Joe Pag Show will start in 3 minutes. The Joe Pag Show will start in 2 minutes. The Joe Pag Show will start in 1 minute.
the Joe Pags Show. To talk to Joe, call 888-941-PAGS. And now, it's Joe Pags.
All right, great radio stations across the land. Really glad to have you along for the ride. That's Sam. That is Polo. I am Joe. Bottom of this hour, Markwayne Mullin. He is, of course, the U.S. Senator from the great state of Oklahoma. Great guy. Former wrestler, I believe. Sam, I think he was a former, collegiate wrestler? Find out what his background is. Is that what he was? Might have been MMA guy. I'm not sure which one. He was one of the two. But he's the one that was going to get into the fight with that guy O'Brien from the Teamsters. He's like, well, stand your butt up. This is a time. This is a place. Let's go. So we definitely get into that a little bit in the interview. We do get all, testosterone-y at the end of it, but you probably will see that online tonight because it goes about 25 minutes. We've got about a 17-minute window that we can fill for the radio show. We'll bring you as much as we can. We talk about the D.C. Police takeover. We talk about the meeting tomorrow with Putin and Trump. We talk about what's going on from the big, beautiful bill and how that's helping out the safety and security of this country and a whole lot more. Sam, what is his background? Is it wrestling?
MMA.
It's MMA.
Yes.
So I might be
undefeated.
I don't know if I'm bigger, if he's bigger, but he definitely would kick my ass. I'm not a fighter.
I mean,
I'll sit on him.
He's 5-0, undefeated. So, yeah, I think he would win.
Yeah, I think so, too. This is why we're now friends. This is why you become a bro with somebody like that.
Right. Oh, yeah, y'all are bros now, 100%.
Well, when I'm in D.C., I'll be walking tall, but if somebody wants to mess around, I'll be like Markwayne.
Oh, he'll go.
MMA, this guy.
He'll fight right there.
He's a good guy. We had a great conversation today. You will love it on the radio. You'll love it on the video. You're going to like it a lot, I promise you. The president today talked about the 90th anniversary of Social Security. Social Security, this is the way it was supposed to work. Let's get real about this. They were going to have you pay into a trust fund, as Al Gore would say, a lockbox. You're going to go into a lockbox that was Social Security. Even saying Social Security is a pain in my ass. They should have called it something different. Sam, shouldn't they have called it something different?
Yes, 100%.
Social Security. It's not easy to say.
It's not.
Say it.
Social Security. Social Security.
Paulo, you find that difficult to say?
Social Security?
This is there were not enough. I'm telling you, there are more syllables in it than that. You said Social Security.
Social Security.
There you slowed down. Exactly right, Sam.
We're just too Italian to say Social Security.
Hey, Social Security.
You know? Hey, come on.
Paulo, say it in Italian.
Social Security.
What the hell is that? Those of you in the car right now, say it out loud. Social Security. It's not easy to say. I use words for a living, and I hate saying Social Security.
The stupid part is I'm over here doing something with my hand when I did it.
When you did the Italian part?
I did. I did.
Hey,
come on.
Hey, come on. So Social Security was supposed to be in a lockbox. It was supposed to be untouchable. Supposed to be a fund. Hey, give us the money from your paycheck, and we'll put it into the fund, and we'll let that fund grow and earn interest for all the years you work. And then you'll get it back after you stop working as sort of this pension or again, Social Security trust fund. And then the government, for some reason, said, the lockbox idea is cute and all, but let's just spend some of it. Like, well, hold on a second. So you're taking the money out of my paycheck. You're siphoning it from my paycheck. I'm not allowed to invest it. I'm not allowed to spend it. I'm not allowed to enjoy it. You get all that money and any interest that might have been accrued, and you can spend it anytime you want, and then you complain to me, the guy you stole it from, that there won't be any money there for me when I retire. Do I have it right? I think I have it right. And that's not the way it's supposed to work. It was never supposed to work that way. That's why when people say, we should have more money for USAID, wrong, because we don't know how they're going to spend it. We should have money for NGOs, wrong. We don't know how they're going to spend it. And you're taking money from me, handing it to people and organizations that we have no idea what they're going to be spending the money on, and then we go back and say, hey, can we get some of that money we gave you so we can use that on a real project that we really need to be taken care of? Nope, no more money there. It's going to be insolvent soon. How? People are still working and sending money to the central government because they were told it's going to be there when they retire, and it's not. Well, you get a lot more people retiring than people working. I don't give a rip. If you never touched a dollar, a dime of Social Security, and they have, it would be there and it would have a bunch of interest by now. It would be building like crazy. So today, President Trump's talking about the 90th anniversary of Social Security, and I guess how he's going to go forward, how we need to look out for this because people are looking for it when they retire.
Almost 60 million American seniors rely on Social Security for peace of mind and a life of dignity in retirement.
You see, he even paused. He said Social Security because if you say it together, it's going to be Social Security. It's going to be that.
These Americans paid into the system, and they deserve leaders in Washington who are going to protect the benefits they've had and protect Social Security. Under Biden, Social Security went down like nobody's ever seen. It deteriorated. There's never been anything like it. The 4 years of Biden were very, very destructive. It couldn't have gone on much longer. Social Security was going to be destroyed. It was being destroyed. The average.
I wonder if I can get the president to start just calling it the auto pen administration. I literally guys just call it that. I mean, auto pen. Why not just call it that? Was it really the Biden administration?
Call wait time reached an all-time high of more than 42 minutes. Field office wait times were at 32 minutes, which is unheard of, and the disability claims backlog was the longest ever in recorded history. In other words, it was run just like the country was run. It was run really badly. But I'm pleased to report that under our leadership, and Frank in particular, the changes he's made and what he's done is sort of a miracle. Sort of like what happened with the country as a whole. Field office wait times are now down 30% since last year, and it looks like it's going to a total record number. And the record was set in a long time ago when the world was a lot different place. We're gonna beat that record. Call wait times are down 73% while serving twice as many customers per day. The disability claims backlog is down 26%, and seniors now have 24/7 online access to their accounts, which they never had before, whereas under Biden, the website was down 29 hours a week for maintenance purposes. It was essentially not open very much. They were always maintaining it, but they didn't know what the hell they were doing. They had a person running that had no idea what they were doing. Among my very first acts was to order all government employees to return to the office or be removed from the job, which means our Social Security offices are now open for full business hours 5 days a week. So unlike being shut down all the time, we're open at record levels also. We're making it really great for the people that want and demand Social Security, and they paid into the system. They deserve it.
I mean, all very well said. His goal is to make it great. His goal is to make it better. Now, before you think to yourself, this isn't an important topic, I'm here to tell you, I go on TikTok at night. A lot of you have seen those TikTok lives. I'll debate people. I'll sing some songs, whatever. When we talk about issues, and certainly in the lead up to the One Big Beautiful Bill, you had thousands of people in there, and many of them were saying, what about people on Social Security? What about people on fill in the blank other thing? What about people who are of this age or who are retired? They're very, very concerned about it. Now, I'm an open book when it comes to Social Security. I've got a pension. I've got a 401k. And I don't want to ever use Social Security. I want it to be there should, God forbid, something go wrong and I need to have that to live, to eat, and survive. I don't want to ever have to use it. But it should be there for me if I want it or need it. It should be there for you if you want it or need it, because we had no say. We couldn't just say we're not going to send you our Social Security money out of every paycheck. We couldn't do that. We didn't have the right to tell you not to steal from us. And then once you stole from us, you spent it wildly like some drunken sailor. And no insult to drunken sailors. God forbid I should compare you to politicians. But anyway, they took our money, did anything they wanted with it. Then they look at us going, yeah, it's going to be insolvent because Trump is bad and Republicans suck. No, it's nothing like that at all. People are very concerned about this. That money should be available. And by the way, he did do tax deductions for those who get Social Security in the One Big Beautiful Bill. He has said, and others have said, that that's the same thing that it would have been had they done no tax on Social Security, which they didn't do. You can't do that in reconciliation. I'll break those numbers down a little bit when we come back if I can, to try to make that easy to understand. You can't do no tax on Social Security in a reconciliation. You have to do that as part of the omnibus or the big budget bill, which they're not going to do. coming up with a big budget bill, because in reconciliation, you only need 51 votes. And in the actual budget, you have to have 60 votes, a supermajority in the Senate, which is not likely to happen if you're including no tax on Social Security. Why? Because the Democrats want more of your money. They think they deserve it. That's why. Your thoughts about the 90th anniversary of Social Security. Should we do something other than have Social Security and have the government steal our money, fleece us, spend it all, then complain to us? Or should we look at something else? Something more like a 401k? Something more like something that would be guaranteed by the FDIC or whatever? I mean, I'm open to all sorts of ideas, because sending thousands of dollars every year from every American worker to a so-called trust fund that might not be there when you retire, that's getting a little bit old. 833-JOE-PAGS, 833-563-7247, joepags.com. Scroll down, click on contact. I'd love to hear from you via the email. Let me tell you in the meantime about great coffee. Great coffee, talking about Crockett Coffee. It smells unbelievably good. Like, I'm the guy who, when you go and buy some coffee at the store, you open it up, and the first time it's the freshness you smell, that's a really nice smell to me. And then if it's a good cup of coffee, I can smell it through the house. I don't drink coffee, but my family does. And Crockett Coffee smells better than any coffee I've ever had the pleasure of smelling the aroma of. And it does fill up the entire kitchen. Sam drinks coffee. My wife, Jenny, drinks coffee. This is really good stuff. Enjoy your Crockett Coffee, and you will. You'll be supporting a pro-America brand of coffee. You're going to wonder if Crockett Coffee is ever going to turn into those over-leveraged companies cutting corners on the quality of their beans, or the way small batch roast their specialty imported beans. There's no need to. This coffee brand was started by two fellow patriots, my friends Buck Sexton and Clay Travis, so you know that they're never going to sell out. Go right now and check this out. They also go and support, with some of the proceeds, Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Go online to crockettcoffee.com, use my name, PAGS, and save 15%. That's crockettcoffee.com. Use my name, PAGS. Save money now. And we're back after this.
Joe Pags.
Clear.
What's happening, people? What's going on? What's shaking? What do you know? Bit subs, gift subs over on Twitch, subs, gift subs, and Rumble rants on Rumble, and of course Super Chats, memberships and gift memberships on YouTube. If you like what you're watching, if you love what you're dealing with, make sure you give us some nice support. We appreciate you.
You know how you were talking about that one guy that sometimes you'll jump into his show or whatever?
Who?
That Italian guy?
Yeah.
The actor. And I kept trying to remember what else that he's been in. He was in The Wedding Singer.
I know. Wedding Singer, Cop and a Half, New York, Goodfellas, Godfather 2. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was like, I know I've seen him in something else, and it was something that was like a comedy or whatever. And,
yeah, that's him.
I haven't seen any of those movies.
What's the matter with you?
You've never seen The Wedding Singer?
None. I don't
What's
even know
the-
what
Wow,
that
Sam.
is.
The Wedding Singer
I
is
saw
Adam
Wedding
Sandler.
Crashers.
You're a disappointment, Joe.
Shut up. I didn't do this. She's been
You
an adult for a
did.
long time.
You are horrible because this movie education that she lacks. This is your fault.
Thank you.
How old is that?
Polo.
How old is that child in your
Thank
house
you.
right now? You showed him every great movie, Polo? Oh,
That's-
what's the matter? Cat got your tongue?
I've
Let
showed
me
him
ask
what
him
I
who
can.
the wedding singer is. Put him on.
I've showed him what I can.
He can see the wedding singer.
I mean, yeah, now I guess he could, but I mean, he wouldn't care.
You see?
You know.
Pot calling the kettle black.
Okay, but you've been around her your entire life. I haven't.
Okay.
So there's a
Right.
difference.
How many years has it been,
difference.
Polo? That's a cop out.
I mean, I can only suggest.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't
You have
have
a say.
the-
You have a say.
Not really.
You have no say at all.
Yeah, not really.
Come on, man.
No. So
Sam, you don't need to watch some movies. What's the matter with you? You make me look bad.
Listen, you are welcome to come over anytime.
Mm-hmm.
Make some popcorn, order pizza.
It's not like you don't know where I live, Sam.
It sounds like you don't know where I live.
I'm sorry, theater room?
I have
I mean,
one.
it sounds like neither of y'all know a lot of stuff because all these movies that she keeps.
What are you talking about? I've seen them all.
Yes, but
You're
you
right,
haven't
Polo.
like shown them to her. I mean,
Got him.
Like, I'm going to hold her down. You must watch this now.
yes.
It's hard for me to leave my house on the weekend. I will say. Putting
Tell her
pants
it's job
on,
related
not my
or
favorite
something.
thing.
Rude. Joe Pags. We're about 10 minutes away from Markwayne Mullin, U.S. Senator, great state of Oklahoma. Great guy. Really cool guy. He's got a lot of really good answers to the questions you have, so make sure you stick around for that. Looking forward to having him on. It is 833 Joe Pags, 833-563-7247, joepags.com. What should be done with Social Security? Just leave it like it is? They can steal all the money they want, then blame us and say we need more of your money? They keep on trying to make a higher number for how much you have to make to continue giving to Social Security. I don't want to give it if it's not going to be available if I need it. And again, I'm trying to not ever need it, but a lot of people are relying on it because that's basically the only pension they have. And it should be there. It is their hard-earned dollars. Social Security doesn't come from the air. It comes from your hard work, and it comes out of your paycheck. So let me go to the phone lines. It's 833 Joe Pags, 833-563-7247. Bill, California, what's going on?
Yeah, Joe, good afternoon. I'm glad you're living the dream. Listen, I'm a local correspondent for a political talk show up here in the high desert, aside from being the special effects guy who's called you about Alec Baldwin before.
Nice.
And one of the things we do is research things very carefully. I have the preamble of the Social Security Act sitting right in front of me directly from their website.
Okay.
Social Security Act of August 14th, 1935, H.R. 7260. Now, Joe, other than providing for the general welfare by establishing system of federal old age and all the rest of it that's in the preamble, people have to read very carefully the very last line of the preamble. To establish a Social Security board to raise revenue and for other purposes. So, folks, from day one, the Social Security Administration has an act written into it that is a backdoor for Washington or politicians to take money out whenever they want. The problem is, we as citizens, we by default agreed to this without reading the contract. My first recommendation to President Trump would be to find out what's been taken out recently, try and get as much money restored as possible to Social Security, and then to work with the Senate and the House of Representatives to do legislation to remove that last piece from the preamble.
I couldn't agree more. And for other purposes doesn't work for me, Bill, and I appreciate you calling in. Thank you. 833 Joe Pags, 833-563-7247, joepags.com. I didn't realize that was in there. Now, Sam, do me a favor and go on the AI. Ask a simple question. When did the U.S. government start dipping into the Social Security Fund? I'd like to know exactly when they did that. A fake account just followed me. If you've got a fake account and you're pretending to be me, why would you follow me? A fake account, Joe Pagliarulo, Joe Pags Talk Shoe, just followed me. How dumb must you be as a scammer to literally follow me? I don't get it. So if you see that popping up in your feed, it is not me. I'm the one with the check mark next to it. So just ask that question. When exactly did we start taking from the Social Security Fund? Does it say?
Yes. So apparently it started taking funds from there over budgetary needs in the early 1980s.
So it was only 45 years ago they started taking the money. So 45 years in, because it's 90 years old like today or yesterday, 45 years in, they didn't touch it. And then in 1980, I mean, really? In 1980, they decided, that's got to be Jimmy Carter, by the way. Jimmy Carter was, honestly, I keep saying that it was Biden. And, I know Obama gave him a run for his money, but Jimmy Carter was such a ridiculous, horrific president. My God. The guy started the Department of Education. Ridiculous. The guy failed in trying to save our hostages. Ridiculous. The guy didn't like the National Christmas tree because the hostages weren't home. Made us look weak. Decided not to go to Moscow for the Olympics, ruining the Olympic dreams of many Olympians. And he also started taking from the Social Security Fund, or that happened while he was the president. The hell's going on? I mean, how many other bad things happened in 1980 or between 1977 and 1981 when he had his term? It's ridiculous. So we didn't touch it for a long time, but I think the caller, Bill, is right. They probably looked at it and said, oh, damn, we could use it for other purposes. We're not stuck to this. We can do whatever we want with it. And they did. It's exactly what they did. 833-JOE-PAGS, 833-563-7247, joepags.com. Interestingly, out of Anchorage, Alaska, with this big meeting tomorrow between Putin and Trump, they're saying it's all a buzz. This is from The Guardian, looking at what's going on in Anchorage, Alaska. Anchorage, a buzz ahead of Trump-Putin summit, but please don't sell us back, was the quote that's being used here by this very, very clever writer, Alicia Coe Down. It is said to be one of the last good summer weekends in Anchorage, Alaska, the peak of the salmon run and the middle of berry season. The residents hope that Friday's summit between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin isn't going to ruin it for them. Quote, I'm looking forward to taking my boat out on the water at Prince William Sound. That's my plan, said Andy Maduro, something like that, who works at a conservation nonprofit in Anchorage. Jeff Landfield, owner of the Alaska Landmine news site, said, we've had a pretty good summer, getting projects done, going out hunting, fishing, camping, four-wheeling. But it's coming to the close of the season, so I've got several people say they better not blank up my plans. Who's writing this in The Guardian? Sam? The Guardian just writes the F word anytime it wants? Sam's answering phone calls. Very important job. I mean, is that what you do as somebody who writes for a newspaper or for some sort of an outlet? You write the F word in the middle? Thank goodness, Polo, that I actually, censored myself there.
Thank you.
Had it been, what was it called, Anchorman? I would have just read it.
Oh, yeah.
Sam hasn't seen that either, right?
I have seen Anchorman. Both of
Oh,
them.
wow, you saw one. Wow. Pete, Wisconsin, very quickly, what's on your mind? Let's go.
Social Security. There's a little bit of a misconception, I think, that's going around that Social Security is sort of this trust fund that everybody has a piece of. Whether there's any money in the Social Security fund or not, doesn't matter. The money that we get from the Social Security fund is just an obligation of the government to pay. The problem is that Social Security funds are only allowed to be invested in government securities, treasury bonds, treasury notes, treasury bills. Those, as you know, have relatively low rates of interest, and they're basically not keeping up in the demand for Social Security.
Unfortunately, I got to go. I've got to go, brother. I said fast call back again. Sounds like you've got some really good information on that, but we're right up against a hard break. We come back, it'll be Senator Markwayne Mullin. Keep it here.
Don't be an A-dub. Stay with the Joe Pag Show.
Clear.
rebate. What's going on, people? Scrolling through. Appreciate those who are supporting. I know we got a little something over on YouTube. Michael Oliver says 10 smackaroonies. Now that Trump has kicked 120-year-old people off of Social Security, they'll surely continue to vote for Dems. Yeah, exactly right. Appreciate the support. Thanks for that super chat. You can do it too. Let's go. Nice, Big. I appreciate that. Very nice. Thank you. Farmer John, that would be nice, but I don't think they see it that way. They got to figure out the algorithm to get more traction out of it live. I saw a video of this guy who we already knew was a tough guy because he called out O'Brien. He said, get your butt up, and they're going to fight right there in the Senate. But I saw a video where he's like really jacked. I'm like, I better wear a short sleeve shirt today. I don't need Markwayne Mullin making me look stupid again. It is the U.S. Senator for the great state of Oklahoma, Markwayne Mullin. Senator, how are you? Good to see you again, man.
Joe, I'm doing great. Thanks for letting me come back on your show.
I did not get a screen grab later, so maybe we'll do the flex down later. I didn't get the screenshot when we were doing that before we started today. Let's talk about flexing our legal muscles, segue, into D.C. Markwayne, we've got people in this country that are in law enforcement, in city leadership, in national leadership, who literally don't want fewer murders, fewer rapes, fewer muggings, fewer carjackings in D.C. What am I missing that anybody on earth is arguing about making it safer in D.C.?
Well, you can't argue with stupidity, and you can't argue with crazy. And so you can't make sense of it. But anybody that wants to actually live in a city to where you feel safe walking down the street, and God forbid, allow our kids to walk down the streets, right? They know Washington, D.C. isn't that place. And this mayor, who is she's absolutely lying through her teeth by saying that crime is down. She knows exactly why it's down, because she decriminalized everything. And she doesn't enforce anything. Now, I haven't met one officer that doesn't want to enforce the law. They got there not because of the pay. They got there because they have a heart to serve. And yet you have prosecuting attorneys that's refusing to prosecute the crime. They've decriminalized everything to where it's a misdemeanor basically, and a misdemeanor they never even show up to for the fine. To theft now is at such a high rate of and I don't know what the ridiculous amount is. I used to know and I can't remember, but it's so high that even home invasions typically doesn't even meet it. Walking out of stores with a dollar amount, I think under $1,000 now isn't a crime, or it's decriminalized where it's just a misdemeanor. And so they're not writing citations. And if you, or even arresting these people, you go and you drive in Washington, D.C., it's like driving in a third world country. You got four-wheelers passing you got motorcycles passing you, and these are dirt bike motorcycles. You have mopeds running around. These guys don't have license. They don't have tags on the back of them. They're blowing through intersections. And if you're not going to enforce small crimes, even because that is a crime, that is, it's illegal for you to do it.
Yes.
You're never going to enforce the big ones. And so they're absolutely not telling the truth. But that's what happens in these blue cities, Joe. And I commend President Trump for doing this because it is the nation's capital. That's someplace. That's the only place that some people get to see. And if you walk one block off the Capitol complex, it smells like you're in a pot farm. I mean, it's absolutely absurd.
And as we watch it, we see what you said is absolutely true, but it's even worse than that, Markwayne. We've got a report from NBC and this is from NBC, for God's sakes, in D.C. telling the truth. There was a commander removed in May. He's been on administrative leave because they said he was fudging the numbers. In other words, he'd go to the scene of a carjacking. The officers would say, we're at a carjacking. He'd show up. What do you got? Got a carjacking. All right, call that simple battery. What? Yeah. So it doesn't count as a felony. It's somebody smacks somebody upside the head, which is a different thing completely. Or you've got a stabbing. Just call that simple assault. So, I mean, that's what they're doing. So, A, that's illegal. You can't, fraudulently fill out governmental paperwork. And B, they're being exposed now. So why don't they just shut up and say, thank you, President Trump. Help us get out of this horrible crime. What do they gain by fighting him on this, do you think?
It's their hatred, their hatred towards President Trump, period. I mean, I don't know if you saw Chuck Schumer came out there and was trying to convince people that Washington, D.C. is safe. I make morning walks. I get out in the morning and walk the mall, and I'm perfectly safe. And I'm like, Chuck, you don't even walk down the halls of the Capitol without 4 police officers beside you. There is no way you're walking by yourself. Not to mention there's zero chance he walks any farther than getting into his limousine that they show from around in. And so the only reasonable explanation you can come up with, and then, like I said, you can't argue with crazy, is that their hatred towards President Trump, it doesn't make any difference what he does. They're going to fight him on it. I'm getting hit a little bit on this because I was on Fox last night with Brian Kilmeade. He was sitting in for Laura Ingraham. And I said, I don't wear a seatbelt in Washington, D.C. Now, I wear my seatbelt wherever I go because I probably should. But in D.C., I don't. And the reason why is because I drive a Jeep. A Jeep is kind of prone for carjacking. And I want to be able to exit my vehicle to be able to defend myself in a fast manner. And I'm telling you, I don't wear my seatbelt because of it, because you're stuck in traffic all the time. You're there all the time, right? You're stuck in traffic constantly. That's the perfect place to be held hostage, so to say, in your vehicle with the seatbelt on. And it's sad that I had to do that, but I learned that trick when I was working overseas in third world countries, that you don't want to be tied in. You want to be able to exit your vehicle fast. And so it's crazy that you're talking about this stuff. You're using the same tactics that I was taught overseas. I'm taught here in Washington, D.C. I'm having to use here in Washington, D.C. because of the likelihood, not fear, the likelihood something like that's going to happen.
And you had Henry Cuellar, who's actually a U.S. representative from Texas, was carjacked. You had a Democrat, I can't remember where she's from, another representative, who was also hassled. You had the guy who goes by Big Balls, I don't know his real name, but he got beaten up horribly, because somebody tried to carjack him. This isn't something that might happen. I mean, this is something that you literally have to plan for. So it's 30 days when the president sends them in, right? So then after that, you guys have to decide if you want to keep them there. What's likely to happen? Will you keep a presence in D.C.?
Well, two things on this one. One, there isn't an office in Washington, D.C. that doesn't have somebody working for them that hasn't been mugged or almost mugged.
Crazy.
I guarantee you there's not one of them, especially if you ride the metro. Now, the 30 days. I think the president's going to make a lot of improvement in 30 days, but he can't change the mindset of the city in 30 days.
Right.
So we're going to have to extend it. And by the way, there's a lot of people in place, like the prosecuting attorneys, or this individual that you was talking about that was fudging the crimes by pushing them to a lesser offense.
Yeah.
Those mindsets, those individuals have to be removed from office. And so I think we'll have to extend it. And it's going to be interesting to me how these Democrats vote, because remember, their office, the people that work inside their office, their staff, they live in the city. And I guarantee you privately, they want this crime ridden city to be taken under control. So I think there will be some bipartisan support. I don't know how much, but we'll absolutely have to extend it in 30 days.
Well, I would hope there'd be bipartisan support, because you're right. Even ABC, there was some announcer on ABC who said, yeah, I had this happen where I live. Then you had somebody on MSNBC say, yeah, I can't stand Trump, but this is really good to clean up Washington, D.C. Markwayne, one last thing on that, because this blows my mind. Why wouldn't people like Muriel Bowser and the police chief say, we don't agree with him politically, but thank God the president's helping us out here? Wouldn't that be the smart political move, at least, to say what he's doing to keep us safer is good?
You would think. You'd absolutely think they would say that. But once again, their hatred towards President Trump prevents them from doing this. And I'll share one more thing with you, too. CNN building is the same building that is I won't name the government offices that office out of it. But when you kind of got to walk through the courtyard to get to the front door. They will meet you because of the crime in that area. They meet me and all their other guests, by the way, at the door and walk us to the door. And I mean by my door of my vehicle, and walk me to and from my vehicle with with one or two security personnel because of the crime where CNN is located. And by the way, that's right by Union Station, so it's not very far off the hill. Where NBC is located and Fox is located and News Nation is located is at the Bureau. And here lately, they've been having to do the same thing, having to escort people to and from their vehicles because of the crime. So even these news outlets, they know what's happening, and so I don't expect them to give any cover to the Democrats during this matter, because everybody that works in those bureaus and works at those stations, once again, they've got to deal with the same crime-ridden city that everybody else is living in.
Republican Senator from the great state of Oklahoma, Senator Markwayne Mullin. We appreciate the time and the access. Let's switch gears. I talked to Tony Gonzalez, our mutual friend, a U.S. representative from here in Texas earlier today. He says President Trump has already won because Vladimir Putin is coming to the United States to have this conversation tomorrow. As we do this on Thursday the 14th, what do you anticipate is going to happen tomorrow? Is the war going to be ended tomorrow?
I don't think so.
What is it that, because he's coming here. I mean, do you agree with Tony? He's coming to our country.
I agree. I completely agree with Tony. And Tony's a great guy. And by the way, a former intel officer.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Tony knows this world very well, and I consider Tony a very close friend of mine. I think he's absolutely correct. The optics of him coming to to visit with President Trump, not President Trump going there, is huge. Even though he's not coming to Washington, D.C., he's still coming to U.S. soil, which is the first time that's happened in like 20 years.
Right.
He's looking for an exit because he doesn't want the economic impact. Right now, the ruble is in a down spiral. It's actually almost junk at this point. Their economy's not doing well. They're tired of subsidizing the Chinese government and the Indian government. And what I mean by that is they're selling their oil at 76 cents on the dollar to Russia or to China and India. And now if we even put more economic strains on them where those countries can't buy their product because they got to choose who they want to do business with, it's going to put them in a tailspin. So Putin is not looking to end the war. He's looking to end or prevent the economic impact. He's going to look for negotiations. What Russia wants is they want every place that their soldiers have set foot in, they want to claim that as sovereign soil for Russia and want the United States and the UN or NATO to recognize that. Right. That's not going to happen. There's going to have to be some negotiations here. I think this is the first step to actually having negotiations. I don't think the war is going to end here. There's no way it can end here. I don't believe that's even possible because Zelensky's not there because they have to agree to it. But I believe this shows that Russia is afraid of the economic impact it's going to cause. Putin's value of life doesn't exist. He values the dollar over the life. And so it's the economic portion that's brought him to the United States soil, even though it's Alaska, than it is anything else. And so he is looking for a way out. And it could only happen underneath President Trump because Putin knows that he doesn't lie or bluff. Keep in mind, he said the same thing to Iraq, or Iran, and said, hey, in 60 days, negotiations end. At 12:01, bombs started falling on the 61st day.
Right.
He went from 50 days down to 10 days and said, if you don't come to the table, we're going to do this. Keep in mind, for the first time that Putin called Trump's bluff was when Trump was 45 in 2017, when Russia controlled the airspace over Syria, and he warned them not to assist Assad in delivering chemical weapons on his own people. They did assist, and within 30 minutes, we bombed the airspace that they were at. We killed some Russians, and we took out all their military planes that were there, and they never used that airspace again because we controlled it until Biden came into office. So Putin knows Trump doesn't bluff.
You know, everything you said is spot on, but something really jumped out at me. He doesn't have any thoughts about life. He doesn't care about life. It's about the financial benefit for his country. It's about him, being on top of the mountain and not being knocked off. I never thought about it, though. He doesn't give a rip about life. So he doesn't care that generations of Ukrainians and possibly of Russians are dead and just gone because of a dumb war that didn't need to be started. You actually have to get him in the pocketbook. It's that simple?
I don't want to say it's that simple, but that's absolutely true. But that's the way Russia. Back at Stalin. The value that Russia puts on life doesn't exist. I mean, they'll just put waves and waves and waves and waves of people in any war that they've ever fought, and they don't care about the impact that it has. Right. It's all about finances for them. What he is afraid of, if you really get into Putin's mindset. He was so upset at Gorbachev because he blames Gorbachev for the collapse of Russia or USSR. Right. And so he sees that should have never happened, that he should have never allowed that deal to take place. He should have continued to fight and put the motherland, instead of letting the motherland break up, that he should have kept it as a whole. But because he did that, it's been his mission in life ever since Gorbachev. Remember, he was KGB underneath Gorbachev.
Right.
Ever since that, his perspective is to restore the motherland as a whole again, and he can't do that if he's in financial ruins.
That's very well said. And I hear you. Let me ask you one last thing on that, because I do want to move on. Let's say that he signed some deal, maybe not tomorrow, maybe in a week, maybe in 2 weeks, and we have an end. The peace is going to happen. Whatever deal has to be made is made. What's to stop him from doing it again anytime he feels like it? And this is the problem. Ukraine was made promises in the early 1990s by Russia, by us, by everybody else in between. And Russia just said, we're not going to follow that. We just don't feel like it. So why wouldn't he do what he did in Georgia and do what he did in Crimea, do what he's now done in Ukraine? What's to stop him next time?
So what you're referring to is the Budapest Memorandum. It was formed in 1993, signed in 1994, which Ukraine, for your listeners, gave up their nuclear weapons, their nuclear arsenal, for the guarantee that Russia wouldn't invade them and that the United States would be there with them, which is why we've been along this whole path with Ukraine to begin with, because of the Budapest Memorandum.
Right.
What prevents him from doing that moving forward is the economic impact. I believe what you could see and President Trump could be criticized for doing this, but this could really help. So the economic ties that our economy ties in together. People say, well, why hasn't China invaded Taiwan yet? Why haven't we went to wars? Because their economy is so tied into the U.S. and they can't afford to be away from it. If there's an economic tie to Russia with the United States, it makes that invasion much difficult. And you got to look at you got an invasion, meaning Russia goes back into Ukraine.
Right.
And you got to look at the age of Putin too. Putin is not young anymore. What we call, he's in the cattle world, we call it short and solid. He's definitely short and solid. And if you got him any pasture, you'd be looking to sell him right now.
Right.
And so he's not at the age to continue these fights. He needs a legacy. The legacy that he could hang his hat on is that, look, he got Crimea or whatever the deal's going to be.
Yeah.
He restored part of it. Now he's going to leave with a strong economy. And they're going to build statues of him all over Russia. That's going to be I believe that's his legacy. So now he's looking towards legacy more than he's looking at building. And I believe that is the path. Now, once again, you can't rationalize, but if you read intel reports, you try to understand the way he thinks, you understand his history, you can get to a conclusion of what he's looking for to come out of this.
It makes a lot of sense. So in essence, and again, people might balk at this, actually make them more reliant on us economically, then we can shut off the spigot anytime we want, like we can with China. You're right. That's why China hasn't done it.
Yeah, but you look at the Abraham Accords. President Trump is probably the underscored history that President Trump had in his first term, was Trump 45, is the Abraham Accords.
Yes.
You want to know what has kept that whole region from breaking out into a regional war is the Abraham Accords, because it's kept Egypt out of the fight. It kept Saudi Arabia, even though Saudi Arabia hasn't total normalized relationships, they see the impact that it's had with UAE because of the Abraham Accords. You look at the normalization they've had with Jordan, which kind of kept them out of the fight too.
There's more there. About another 10 minutes of that interview with Markwayne Mullin, great senator of the great state of Oklahoma. We're back after this on the radio show. Keep it here.
This is the Joe Pags Show.
Clear.
One in the chat. Let me give you a little bonus here. I'm going to take you to the end of the interview, and you got to go watch the entire interview tonight when I post it. But let me give you the end. I saw a video of this guy who we already knew was at the end of the interview. I don't let him leave before I do something stupid. Certainly what you just talked about with the one big beautiful bill and the argument with Canada is very important because the cartels are smart. They're going around and not doing it through Mexico anymore. They're going actually to Canada. So thanks for breaking all that stuff. It's Markwayne Mullin. Go follow him everywhere. U.S. Senator, great state of Oklahoma. Before I leave, Markwayne, I find that my triceps are getting too big. Should I just stop working on those as much, or what should I do? What?
Well, see, I have raw horsepower right now.
Okay.
Like that too, see?
I didn't see. I'll try to see if I can do it too. Listen, we got to get together and work out sometime. Thanks for all the incredible. I thought I'd give you a little extra little bonus, a little inside bonus. There you go. That's why you guys like to support what I do online. That's at the end of the 25 minutes, so you got to go watch the entire thing. There you go. Marichelle, the super chat, the $5. Great interview, very informative. Thanks. Hey, I appreciate you for always hooking us up, Marichelle. Thank you. Thought I'd give you guys the inside baseball. That's why you watch the stream, because there's always going to be a little something extra.
Would you say that's your version of a little rebate?
The rebate. Do I need to call for a Rawls alert so I can hear what you did?
Maybe.
Sam, is there a Rawls alerts?
Let me check.
If not, I could always just give it to you here.
No, I'll find something. Appreciate those supers. Very nice of you. Let's go. Marichelle, the 500 over on Twitch as well. Thank you, Marichelle. Looks like we've got a hype train happening. Let's go. Dr. Rock, the 400. Come on. Dana with the 123. Level 1 almost complete. Let's go. All right, V-Dub, let's go. Put it over the top. Thanks. We appreciate the Senator coming on. And again, it's a good long interview. We get into a whole lot of more stuff. Make sure you go check it out tonight. We'll put it up on YouTube. Appreciate Markwayne Mullin coming on. Plus, a little bit of a pose-off at the end. A little bit of a pose-off. I don't know. You have to go check it out. Don't take my word for it. Go see it. That's going to do it for this hour. Another big hour coming your way, including the Attorney General of the great state of Florida coming up. Keep it here.
This is the Joe Pags Show.
Clear.
Yannick with the 500. Let's go. Appreciate that hype train. Come on. We're hyping it. We're super chatting it. Are we Rumble ranting it? Are we doing that? All right, Bill, let's go. About 40% on level 2. I shall return. Will we get to level 3? You never know. I'll be back. One minute left. Level 2 hype train. Let's go. The super chats. If you want the shout out, you do the super chat. Another big hour on YouTube.
Start in 5
Rumble.
minutes.
Rumble is just hanging out in the background, begging to be canceled. How dare you threaten you're going to cancel Rumble? All right, Boyd, let's go. Real change, let's go. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
The Joe Pack Show will start in 4 minutes.
John will let my brother appreciate the 5 gifted. Let's go. You got a gifted sub by John or anybody else, make sure you say thanks. Great, John. Thank you. Good to see you, brother. Not even pull it. That Gavin Newsom bite was so stupid, Sam, I didn't pull it.
The Joe Pack Show
Wow.
will start
Yeah, it was so stupid.
in 3
He did
minutes.
not get any time on my show today.
That is the big drama today, by the way, on Reddit, is that the governor was doing this thing, and all of a sudden ICE agents showed up and started arresting
I've got
people.
Karen Bass. I've got her reacting. He doesn't react to that.
No, he doesn't because he didn't know anything about it
Right. Because he's stupid and airhead.
until after.
The Joe Pack Show will start in 2 minutes.
Do you have an actual news story on what happened there?
Yeah, it's on update 1
All right.
at the bottom.
Got it.
The Joe Pack Show will start in 1 minute.
This is the Joe Pag Show. To talk to Joe, call 888-941-PAGS. And now, it's Joe Pags.
Great radio stations across the land, also on the stream and the podcast. It's the Joe Pack Show. So proud to be on all these radio stations. From our flagship News Talk 550 KTSA in San Antonio. That is Sam, that is Polo, and I am Joe. All right, so I've got some stories I want to get to. We certainly want to talk about the get-together tomorrow in Anchorage, Alaska, between President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin. What do you think is going to happen? And a couple of times today, I've been told by people in our government that Trump has already won because he's making Putin come to us. You might be saying, yeah, but Alaska's right there by Russia. I don't care. He's coming to American soil because Trump told him to. That's what's going on. Trump is not going to Russia. Now, Zelensky's not going to be involved in this. For some reason, the Washington Post thinks that Zelensky might be involved in it. Before we do any of that, I've got a Raws alerts. Raws alerts. Come on. What is wrong with you? That's the one you chose? Really?
You're welcome.
Sam, what do you think? We keeping that?
I love it.
Raws alerts would probably love the fact that Polo did that. Okay, so we've got a Raws alerts, and this is just... Raws alerts. There it is. Just anytime you feel like... Just go ahead. Polo's cracking himself up. It's hour 3 in the Joe Pags Show. State of Louisiana Attorney General Liz Murrill is... Now, this is actually scary because my grandkids are on this. A couple of my kids, one of my kids is on this, is officially suing Roblox, as she says it creates an extremely unsafe environment for young children who actively plays on the platform. It should be play on the platform. That was a Raws alerts. Raws alerts. Sam, we have to get word to the people who run that joint now to let them know we do this now.
I love it, and they would love it too.
They would, and they do a very good job, generally speaking. But although there is a typo there, and he actually wrote something below it. He said, autocorrect is the absolute worst thing ever. So there you go. I don't know what the alert is about Roblox. I'll look into because I know that Mesa is actually on it. And I know that our grandkids are on it as well, so I have to look into what that is. But I had to do that because Polo said he had something for me, and there it is. He had something for me, without a doubt. All right, I want to talk about what's going to happen tomorrow, and I definitely want your phone calls on this. I want your emails on this as well, joepags.com. Scroll down, click on Contact. Also go to joepags.com/YouTube, and you'll see my interview with Ken Paxton from yesterday. You'll also see that interview with Markwayne Mullin. That I didn't give you all of it because I didn't have time for it. Well, that'll be up there later on tonight as well. Plus, we've got a long forum with Tony Gonzalez, U.S. Representative, great state of Texas. That's coming up this weekend. Or on Friday, I think we're going to put that on tomorrow. Make sure you look for that as well. But, yeah, I definitely want to hear from you. Go there. This big get-together tomorrow, what do you think is going to come out of it? Now, President Trump did talk about it today. He expects that we're probably not going to have a deal yet, but we want to make sure we sit down face-to-face, find out what it's going to take to stop the war. I just want the war to stop. And then he said eventually the next meeting will be important because that would probably involve, NATO and Zelensky and everybody else. So he doesn't say that Zelensky might be involved in this one, but Sam, you found a story from the Washington Post that makes a lot of stuff up that suggests that he thinks that Zelensky might show up. I mean, how did you take this story?
Well, I didn't take it very well until I actually heard the president speak about it in the Oval Office today.
But if the president didn't say to this meeting, he said the next meeting would probably be. And that's what I saw that interview. Yeah, look at that video again.
I will.
I'm pretty sure that's what he says in the video. Let me give you the news story from the Washington Post. Trump raises possibility of Zelensky joining him and Putin in Alaska. I didn't read it to say that. Well, I didn't hear his. Send me that link to the video again. I'm willing to be wrong about that. I mean, I watched it, and he appears to say, and the next meeting will be important too, because that would probably include blah, 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 blah. Unless I missed something. That's what he appeared to be saying. President Donald Trump suggested in a radio interview Thursday, today, the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky could join him and Russian President Vladimir Putin in Alaska for a second meeting. Yeah, there it is. It's the second, not this one. A second meeting after Trump holds a summit with Putin on Friday. Trump said remaining in Alaska would be by far the easiest way of the three leaders to hold talks, but Trump also cautioned the meeting with Putin could go poorly. He put the odds of failure at 25%. He said he would return to Washington immediately in that case. Trump is also issuing a presidential proclamation Thursday, marking the 90th anniversary of the Social Security Act, which we've already talked about last hour. So he does say that, but I mean, doesn't that mean that the headline is a little bit misleading? Because I read the headline to mean that Zelensky could be joining him and Putin in the Alaska meeting tomorrow. Trump was talking about clearly in that video that you showed me, and also in what he said in this radio interview, wherever it was, that there could be a second meeting. And it sounds like Trump is willing to stay in Alaska. Sam, any good golf courses in Alaska?
Probably.
Trump Alaska National? I don't know if he has one there, but might want to add one. I mean, stay there for a while, go golfing. Maybe Zelensky shows up. Could be the caddy. Oh, that was mean. Was that mean? Zelensky's the caddy? Is that mean?
I don't know. Is it?
Caddyshack 2025, starring Vladimir Zelensky. He can do a
Yeah, that
little
would be
dance.
a
He can do
little
whatever he
weird,
wants
yeah.
to do. But, okay, so I'm thinking the headline's a little bit misleading. Trump raises possibility of Zelensky joining him and Putin in Alaska. But there is news there. They actually tell the truth in the actual body of the story, that it sounds like Trump is willing to stay in Alaska. And if it goes really well with Putin, bring Zelensky in then and maybe get something done. I'll be honest with you, and I am not somebody who's ever going to sell Donald Trump short. I think that's a little bit of wishful thinking. You think they're going to stay in Alaska? And, hey, let's do another meeting tomorrow.
I don't know. I honestly, from what I heard him speak about in the Oval Office, he made it sound like maybe they were just going to do a meeting with Putin, with just him and Putin, obviously
Right.
translators and all that, and then kind of into a second meeting the same day is kind of what it sounds like to me. But maybe that's wishful thinking on my part.
I don't know. Let me play it. You've given me the video. Let me play this video and see what we can make of this. Hold on.
We have a meeting with President Putin tomorrow. I think it's going to be a good meeting, but the more important meeting will be the second meeting that we're having. We're going to have a meeting with President Putin, President Zelensky, myself, and maybe we'll bring some of the European leaders along, maybe not. I don't know that it's going to be very important. We're going to see what happens. And I think President Putin will make peace. I think President Zelensky will make peace. We'll see if they can get along. And if they can, it'll be great. You know, I've solved 6 wars in the last 6 months, a little more than 6 months now. And I'm very proud of it. I thought the easiest one would be this one. It's actually the...
I mean, I'm confused. He says, as if there's definitely going to be a second meeting. I don't know that there's a second meeting scheduled. It sounds to me like he's hopeful this meeting will go well enough that we can then have a second meeting. But it sounds like I took it earlier today to mean there will be a second meeting, but not the same day. This almost sounds like he thinks it might happen the same day. And that's the way you took it too, right, Sam?
That is exactly how I took it. Yeah. I mean, that's exactly what it sounds like, right?
But as far as I know, there is no second meeting like on the schedule. But here's what now that I'm putting it all together in my little brain. Trump and Putin definitely meeting tomorrow in Anchorage. If that goes well enough, Trump might say, hey, Vlody. I think he calls Zelensky Vlody.
I don't think so. Fake news.
Vlody. You know if he calls him that?
I don't think so.
What's short for Zelensky? Zenny. I don't know. Either way, he calls up the little Dancing with the Stars guy, and he says, hey, jump on a plane, hop on over to Anchorage. We want to talk to you. And then we go from there. I mean, it sounds like that could be what's the plan, but I don't think Putin would be coming to Anchorage with the idea knowing that he's going to be having a second meeting unless there's something else that just hasn't been released. But I still say that the Washington Post headline was misleading, as if somehow Zelensky's just going to show up. Hey, I'm here. He's going to pop out of a cake or something. I don't think that's going to happen. You don't think he calls him Vlody?
I don't think he's going to pop out of a cake either.
That'd be kind of weird, wouldn't it? That would make news.
Yeah, it would make news.
Be a good TikTok video. Yeah. Sam, what's a good TikTok? Why don't you get Vlody jumping out of the cake? Okay.
Yeah, okay. Let me frame this
That
up.
would make sense. Segue. I do have a TikTok up right now. It is, of course, your girl Delia Ramirez, who was an anchor baby, born of 2 illegal immigrants, and she's now a U.S. representative, married to a DACA recipient, who's complaining about how horrible the country is and how bad ICE and Trump are and Tom Homan. So go and check that out. It's over on TikTok, Joe Pags, Joepags. It's verified. Over on Instagram as well, Joe Talk Show, also the verified account. Now, you were talking about this earlier during the break. Gavin Newsom really thinks he's going to be the next president. It's so weird to me. He really does think that. So he's holding some rally. I guess he was talking about redistricting or something. And ICE just so happened to show up. And ICE just so happened to arrest an illegal alien while it was going on. Here's the story from the Post-Millennial. ICE arrests illegal immigrant outside of Gavin Newsom's L.A. rally. Breaking the law is not coincidental. Breaking the law is breaking the law, is a quote. One illegal immigrant was detained outside the Democracy Center at the Japanese American National Museum in downtown Los Angeles, where Governor Gavin Newsom announced California's plans for redistricting efforts. Footage showed Border Patrol agents taking a man away in handcuffs. U.S. Border Patrol Sector Commander Gregory K. Bovino told NBC4 that Border Patrol was conducting immigration patrols in the area and took one person into custody. He said the man was in the country illegally. Newsom spoke on the federal immigration enforcement outside during his event, telling the crowd, "Where are we?" At the Democracy Center. And right outside, at this exact moment, dozens and dozens of ICE agents. Donald Trump, you think this is coincidental? Donald Trump's minions, Tom Homan, tough guy, decided coincidentally or not. That's the location to advance the ICE arrest? Huh, how's my hair? I don't think he said the hair part. Did he say the hair part, Sam?
That sounded just like him, though. Was that you or Gavin Newsom?
That was actually that was a quote from Gavin Newsom said in an interpreter's voice. So, yeah, I mean, then there's Karen Bass, who was out of town when her entire city was burning down. Karen Bass, who is an absolute fool, who was mad at the National Guard coming and saving her city. That Karen Bass, she was caught up with outside, had nothing to say as she was AWOL when her city was burning down, had a lot to say about what happened.
Not believe that this just happened to be a coincidence.
There is no way this was a coincidence.
Oh,
this
she
was
mad.
widely publicized that the governor and many of our other elected officials were having a press conference here to talk about redistricting.
What?
And they decided they were going to come and thumb their nose in front of the governor's face.
Come
Why
on.
would you do that? That is unbelievably disrespectful.
She mad.
It's a provocative act.
What?
They're talking about disorder in Los Angeles, and they are the source of the disorder in Los Angeles right now. This is just completely unacceptable. This is a administration, this is a Customs and Border Patrol that has gone amok. This absolutely has to stop. There was no danger here. There was no need to detain anyone here. And there was certainly no need to have a provocative act right here where the governor is having a press conference.
Right. So the fact the guy was here illegally and that ICE was looking for him and found him and took him away legally, that's all the government run amok. She's big mad. She wasn't very mad at the fires, wasn't very mad at people rioting in the streets, wasn't mad at people trying to burn down the ICE building, but she was mad that somebody was arrested for being here illegally, and we have no idea what the other guy, what other record the guy might have had. But she was really mad. How dare you enforce the law when the governor's speaking? How dare you? How dare you? Gavin, anything on that? Yeah, that Donald Trump, who does he think he is? Look at my hair. I'm going to work on a Gavin Newsom impersonation, Sam. I think I can probably do one.
You should, but isn't it just like a typical Californian where they don't really enunciate or pronunciate anything?
Pronunciate?
Enunciate.
Or,
which one is it?
Or pronunciate. I don't know. Maybe you shouldn't make fun of him when you're saying pronunciate.
Listen, I have my own problems.
I'm Gavin
not
Newsom.
trying to
How
be the
dare
president.
you, Samantha Pags, obviously the daughter of a fascist. How dare you talk about my pronunciations? That's
And he
such
wants
a
to be
fool.
president.
Right, he's going to be the president now. 833-JOE-PAGS, 833-563-7247, joepags.com. Want to hear from you. Also, you go and check out the Eden Pure Thunderstorm Air Purifier. The third generation is available, called the Oxy 3, the Oxy Leaf 3. It does a great job. Small profile, plugs into the outlet. You plug it right in. Any space where there's some smell, some stench, some nonsense going on, you put it right in there, you plug it in, and let it do its work. It's got two different technologies now. You can flip a switch and use one of the two technologies, and it's whatever fits your needs. You like this smell better? Use that one. You like that one better? Use that. I think you use both at the same time. And together, the technologies go after 99.9% of bacteria and viruses. This new Thunderstorm uses those technologies to make your life easier, make your space smell better, and get all that stuff out of the air that you don't want to deal with. Any smell is going to disappear after a few seconds when you plug it in. It's also portable. Take it with you on vacation. Go to the hotel, go to the rent-out house, whatever you're doing. Take it to work. Make it happen. Go right now to EdenPureDeals.com and use the code PAGS3. Save $200 on 3 Thunderstorms. Again, it's EdenPureDeals.com. The code is PAGS3. Save that money right now. We're back after this.
You're listening to Joe Pags.
Clear.
Maybe Gavin Newsom should do a parody song.
Should be from the musical Hair.
Not bad. Actually, be the song Hair.
There you go.
Let me guess, you've seen Hair, but you haven't seen frickin' Rocky?
Why do you have to call me out?
What is that? It's his fault. It's not my fault.
What are you going to do?
Wow.
Denunciate her.
Making fun of him and you're saying pronunciate. I'm like, what?
Listen.
Why'd you say pronunciate? I'm Gavin Newsom. Look at my hair.
I'm not trying to run for president like this guy is, okay?
That's true.
So I'm
That's
allowed
true.
to just do, I literally just talk for a living. So it's whatever.
Give me a head with hair, long, beautiful hair. Gavin Newsom, vomit that song out.
You would need to borrow my hair for that song.
I would. I would need your hair.
It's a lot of hair.
What's going on, people? Chilling like a villain? Let's go. Appreciate you hanging out. Chilling like a villain. Paul, do we have a news roundup sounder?
No.
Thought we did one. News roundup.
No, we never.
No?
Were able to come up with one.
All right.
Got to do like a country tune to that.
Dong, 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 news roundup. What was that?
That was perfect.
Dong, 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 news roundup. Punch drunk at this point.
Can you make it sound like you're like around?
What does that even mean?
Oh, because round up. Hello.
How do I sound like I'm around?
You move your head around.
News roundup. I don't understand.
There you go. See?
I don't get it. Sam, try it.
That wasn't it. News roundup.
Yeah, no. Stop pronunciating.
Okay. God.
Hi, great to have you. Thanks. I appreciate you stopping by. It's going to be the Attorney General of the great state of Florida, James Uthemeier, coming up at the bottom of the hour. Don't miss a second of that. There's an uproar over alligator Alcatraz, and I do ask him the question that you asked me to ask him, and that question is, can you follow these U.S. representatives around with a camera when they go in, because they're coming out and lying? And he gives some insight into exactly what these people are doing to spew lies about this facility. And in fact, I'll probably give you this in just a couple of seconds here. The governor of the great state of Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis, is announcing yet another facility, not called Alligator Alcatraz. We're calling it something different.
So I'm here to announce today that we are authorizing and will be soon opening this new illegal immigration, detention, processing, and deportation facility here in North Florida.
What are we going to call it? It's in North Florida. What are we going to call it?
We are calling this the Deportation Depot. It is going to be named. It is going to be located here at Baker Correctional Institute. And again, the reason of this is not to just house people indefinitely. We want to process, stage, and then return illegal aliens to their home country.
Deportation Depot. It's pretty good.
That is the name of the game. And that's what we do in Florida. We know that this is an important national priority, not only of President Trump, but of the American people. Of all the issues in the election, I can tell you this immigration and border issue was either the top or right near the top on all people's minds. And so we have identified this location. It'll be able to hold more than 1,300 illegal alien detainees. You will have the same services that you have at Alligator Alcatraz. Costs will be reimbursed by our federal partners. And as I mentioned, Lake City Airport just right down the road. It's 15 minutes away. This is something that the Division of Emergency Management worked very quickly on. This will be operational soon. It's not going to take forever, but we're also not rushing to do it right this day. They're doing what they need to do to get it done in all deliberate speed. So I'm proud of them for their work. Florida's making a difference. This is a priority for the people of our state. It's a priority for the people of this country. And I don't want to see any more angel moms in Florida like Cayenne who lost a loved one because the laws weren't being enforced. We have an administration that's committed to doing that in Washington, and no state has done more to support that effort than we have in the state of Florida.
Deportation Depot. But is there a subliminal connection there to Home Depot where a lot of people are found?
Maybe. I thought he was going to say deportation station.
Really? I thought it was going to be like part of Deportation Depot is like not really specific to the area where it is. I don't know, North Florida, not here, or Daytona Depot. But no, it's Deportation Depot. That's fine. That'll work. I like Alligator Alcatraz better because there are alligators in the Everglades. And no, people aren't like sent to the Everglades and swim through the swamp. But there is a lawsuit, and some dumb judge in Miami, Florida, actually said yes to a 2 weeks hold off, 2 week injunction, I guess, on adding or building or constructing anything at Alligator Alcatraz. It's still housing people there, but that's how dumb this has gotten. They're literally trying to stop a building that was already there, a facility that was already available, that has been retooled with air conditioning and everything else to make sure people are comfortable enough before they get that ass deported. People are arguing against that. I like that there's another one in Florida because Florida just doesn't care when it's in the best possible way. I love that. More states should have these. Are they going to do that Speedway one in Indiana? I think they might. Keep it here. The AG of Florida when we come back.
Joe Pags.
Clear.
I'll pull that video and give it to Roz later. That would have been very funny, Polo. You should have.
I mean, it just sounded like that's kind of where they were going,
Commercial break in the radio show. When we come back, it's going to be James Uthemeier, the Attorney General of the great state of Florida. Let's go. You're getting props for a deportation station from Wild Bill.
See, they messed up.
Deportation, what's your station?
There it is.
Going on across this country, and you know, some of the people in the front lines are the attorneys general in different states. We hear about Ken Paxton all the time in my state. I had him on yesterday. We have Andrew Bailey on all the time from Missouri, who does an amazing job. This guy does an amazing job as well. It's James Uthemeier. He is the attorney general of the great state of Florida. James, how are you? Good to see you again.
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate the job you're doing. I want to get into Alligator Alcatraz that has everybody up in arms for some reason. I don't know why. I want to get into that in earnest in a second. But just before we started, I brought up what's going on here in Texas with these Democrats who decided they can break quorum, stop the 2/3 from being present, and go run to places like Illinois, that's gerrymandered, or California gerrymandered, or Massachusetts and New York, all gerrymandered. And they say they're trying to save democracy. What are the rules in Florida? Could you stop them from leaving the state? Could you force them to come back? Or are you not in the same sort of situation numbers-wise that we are here in Texas?
Our rules are a little bit different. Numbers-wise, we have super majorities, over 2/3 Republican in both chambers. So I don't think we're at risk for a flyout like that. But we do have some remedies. If people are not going to do their job, if they're going to vacate their responsibilities, then there's very good legal arguments to declare a vacancy. At that point, there'd need to be a special election. The governor, unfortunately, can't fill those seats. But I don't think we're going to have to worry about that. We got pretty good leadership that keeps them in line down here.
I don't know if you know everybody who's the chair of every committee, but here in Texas, the Republicans really messed up. Here's what I mean. They've got the majority in the House and Senate, not a 2/3 majority in both, but they're close. But they've allowed for 6 of the chairmanships to go to Democrats. And they're actually using Democrats as a block of voters in the House of Representatives. I'm imagining Florida doesn't do that. Do you have a bunch of Democrats leading chairmanships in your House?
We do not. No, we certainly haven't gone that far. I still scratch my head at Republican leaders here in the state giving Democrats a lot of floor time and conceding in ways that we don't have to. But no committee chairmanships like that. We do have conservative leaders, and our policies we've been able to roll out over the last 6 years reflect that.
I think a big difference is, and I wonder if you would comment on this, here in Texas, when you're talking about Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, Austin, El Paso, you're talking about the biggest cities are all very, very deep blue. In Florida, you just had Miami-Dade County go red. You've got Palm Beach County that I think went red or is close. How is it that the most populated areas of Florida, the populace there is waking up and they realize that they're more conservative than not? Where in other states, the blue is really doing this deep dive into these urban areas and grabbing a hold of them. Is there something different that you're doing in the Sunshine State?
We're enforcing the law. I would accredit tough law enforcement, holding people accountable. People are seeing the record crime lows continue to go down under the leadership that's going on in this state. And yes, cities, I mean, you still have a Democrat mayor in Jacksonville, hopefully not for too much longer, but it's a pretty conservative city largely. Tampa, same thing. Hillsborough County has gone to the right, more registered Republicans now. Miami-Dade County has delivered for Republicans in the last couple cycles. But people, they want a safe environment, and that's what they get here.
And they woke up. They woke up big time, and I love that. It's James Uthemeier. He is the Florida Attorney General. Go to myfloridalegal.com to go check out the website. Follow him on socials as well. Let's talk about Alligator Alcatraz. You don't know this about me, but I used to work in Naples and Marco Island, Florida, but I grew up in Palm Beach County. So I would take State Road 84 all the time. I'd take Alligator Alley all the time. And literally before 595 was built, you had a situation where there were alligators all over the road. I mean, literally, it's just families of alligators walking by. How you doing? There are alligators. So now you've got Alligator Alcatraz that I guess is somewhere in that area. I haven't seen it on a map. But this is a place that was already a facility that existed. It's got air conditioning. People aren't treated like they're in a concentration camp. Why the upheaval over Alligator Alcatraz, which, by the way, I think it's a kind of a cool name because of where it is in Florida. It's right there in the Everglades. Why do you think the left is saying what they're saying about it when you and I both know it's not true?
I think it's really their disdain for deportations generally. They want to keep these people in our country. And I think there's also a panic because they're realizing the jig is up. They had a plan. They wanted to take over our country through the open border, allowing illegals in, spreading them out across the country, counting them in the census, giving more electoral power to sanctuary blue states. Some states even tried in local elections to give them the right to vote. They wanted to change the demographics and the electoral nature of our country. And thanks be to God, President Trump didn't let them get away with it. He came into office, secured the border. He's delivering on his promises. And now we need to detain and deport as many people as possible. So you see these, members of the Communist Caucus in Congress, AOC and friends, and they're crying at these locations, outside the fence. They were elected to represent American people, not these illegal aliens. And when you look at a lot of the people that are in Alligator Alcatraz, I mean, you've got the worst of the worst offenders, people that have been charged or convicted of homicide, sexual assault of minors, trafficking, large fentanyl cartels, you name it. They are there, and that's who these people are defending, not American citizens, but heinous criminals.
Now, you released this picture to Town Hall, I think, via the AP, and this shows the facility. What I like, and tell me if I'm wrong about this, I like that there's like a landing strip. Okay, you're now somebody who's here illegally. You've been adjudicated. You've gotten due process. Now get on a plane and be sent back to where you. Is this why this facility is where it is? Because you literally can have them get on a plane and send them back to where they came from?
That's right. I've been looking at this piece of property for several years. The mayor, Miami-Dade County, they were still, covering the upkeep of the runway, which is still in fabulous condition, 11,000-foot runway, the longest in the state, which is great for big planes and deportation flights. We were looking at what to do with it, as a state and how to acquire it as a state. And then as President Trump took office, he made reference to reopening the original Alcatraz, and it kind of gave me the idea, we got a piece of property that has all the same characteristics, but it's even larger. 30 square miles. You've got the tarmac and basic airport facilities. They were built back in the 70s. This is not a new thing. We included some light infrastructure, brought in some trailers and some heavy-duty tents to build these detention areas. And it's perfect. It's a one-stop shop. We can hold up to a couple thousand people at this point. Once we get through litigation, hopefully it can be expanded to house even more detainees. They've got medical and other services right there on site. As you said, it is air conditioned. It doesn't have to be, but it is. It's nicer than most of the jails in the state. And then just, a few feet away, they get on the plane when it's time to get back to where they came from.
What happened, do you think? And again, it's the Attorney General of the great state of Florida, James Uthemeier. What happened between 1980 and now? Now, you're way younger than I am, but I grew up in South Florida, as I said. When I was 14, 15 years old, I remember the Mariel boat lift coming from Cuba, where Fidel Castro literally emptied his mental facilities and his prison, sent them north 90 miles, and then we had them. Well, what did we do? Crum Detention Center in Dade County. Now it's called Miami-Dade County. And that's where you stayed until we figured out who you were. And if you were as bad as we thought you were, we were sending you back. This seems to be like a palace compared to what they had to deal with back then. Why are we treating people with kid gloves that we know are A, here illegally, they've already broken the law to get here, and B, many of them have committed crimes on top of that? Why the change, do you think? Bleeding hearts? AOC wants some FaceTime? Why don't we treat them the way that we used to? Hey, you came here illegally, we're going to treat you like that.
Well, it seems people want to give a lot of constitutional rights to illegal aliens that aren't afforded them. There's got to be some basic process to make sure that they are not citizens or here on some sort of documentation. But absent that, we don't need to go above and beyond to cater to the feelings of murderers and rapists and drug dealers. But I think it's the nature of the media and a lot of these public servants that sit there and want to create a hysteria. But they're getting the basic services they need. That's the point here. And it's not supposed to be a long-term facility. It's supposed to be short-term. Get them in, finish the process, and then deport them back where they came from. And we're going to do as much of that as possible.
A judge in Miami put the brakes on some construction there. Is that still underway? Because I think there was a 2-week injunction or something, and it ends next week, so it's about 7 days old now. Are you just at a standstill at the facility, or are you still doing things?
The facility continues to operate. It's fully operational. Like I said, it can still house up to a couple thousand detainees. People are still coming in. Deportation flights are going out many times a week. It is fully operational. We'll see what the judge decides to do next week. If there is some sort of more permanent injunction, we will certainly quickly appeal that. This is a claim that we are not following federal environmental regulations when it comes to some of the limited, light infrastructure that's put on the property. But I'll say two important things. Number one, again, it's 30 square miles. Nothing that's there where the detainees are housed comes anywhere close to the Everglades. Nowhere close. This is not touching the Everglades. The impact to the Everglades is zero. Another thing I'll point out is this is state lands and a state-run facility. So just as our state jails do not need to follow these NEPA regulations, our state alligator Alcatraz shouldn't have to as well. But you've got a judge here who I don't think likes immigration enforcement. She seemed to indicate she doesn't like the arrests that we're making across the state. And so it would not be surprised if we have an injunction. But we are going to deliver for the Trump administration here in Florida no matter what. We've got backup contingency plans. The governor announced another facility that's ready to roll if something should happen to create a temporary pause at Alligator Alcatraz. But we're going to fight back here in Florida, and we will win.
Florida Attorney General James Uthemeier, myfloridalegal.com. Go there. One last question on this. You see these dorks from the House of Representatives, my word, not yours, show up at Alligator Alcatraz. They tour it. They're trying to pretend cry, and there are people stacked on top of each other. You've got to drink out of a toilet. All these lies. James, why can't we go behind them with a camera and prove that there are not 35 men stacked on top of each other screaming about freedom? I mean, they might be screaming about freedom because they don't want to be there, but there are not inhumane situations. They're not put in a position like a concentration camp. Why can't we follow these delegations through and prove that what they're saying is untrue? Are we not allowed?
We certainly can. I mean, we've tried to put out some footage to show that the facility is actually a nice facility. Like I said, I've been to most jails and incarceration facilities in the state, and this is nicer, and it doesn't have to be. We've been very accessible, opening it up for tours. A lot of Democrat officials came in. Some of them, they brought thermometers and they stuck them up next to warm lights, trying to misrepresent the temperature in the facility. We saw that firsthand. They complain that people have to brush their teeth in the same room as a toilet. I mean, that's a modern day restroom. That's what you see at a hotel. I mean,
I do that every day. I do that every day. What are they talking about? Really?
It is unbelievable, the hysteria. But at the end of the day, we have a job to do. So we don't want a bunch of media cameras running around this facility. We are trying to get detainees in and out as quickly as possible and as many as possible. Let them cry. I think people across the country on both aisles, I think they see President Trump delivering on a promise, bringing back American sovereignty, bringing back a border, bringing back public safety for once and for all.
Public safety is so key in all of this. I know that you're making sure that we're safer in Florida. So is Governor DeSantis. The president wants to make us safer in this country. And that job is hard to do when you've got people pressing up against you, trying to stop you from enforcing the law. To that end, you're putting forth some legislation that would protect children from illegal aliens and from child predators. What's going on with that? Have you been somehow shackled into not being able to go after them until now? Why do you need this legislation?
Well, we recently saw a situation in Pennsylvania where a homosexual couple, two men, one a registered sex offender, they celebrated bringing home a new baby boy that they obtained through surrogacy. So there are loopholes across the country where you could have registered sex offenders, demented people, trying to obtain kids. We've got to get away from a situation where we are commoditizing kids and making them available to people that want to be parents for their own demented pleasures and just sick pleasure. This is gross.
It is.
It is disgusting. It is unlawful, and it cannot happen. In Florida, it will not happen. This new legislation proposed will close any of these loopholes. There will be no situation where a predator can obtain a kid through surrogacy, through adoption, through foster care, and illegal aliens. I mean, that's a non-starter. So we're not going to allow that at any means. But these predators, we're going to watch them. We see so much today with the internet, predators going after kids through social media, other applications. We just did a week-long sting in Central Florida where we busted 48 child predators trying to get to kids. And it's a disgusting world out there that's evil. There's no other way to describe it. And we're going to fight it with everything we've got.
It's James Uthemeier. He's the Florida Attorney General. Go to myfloridalegal.com to go find out more about what he's working on. Let me talk about something off the beaten path that could be connected to that. I don't think you have any radical Soros DAs in Florida. You might. I don't know. But here in Texas, almost every big city is a DA that was pushed by millions of dollars spent by George Soros. They want anarchy. They don't want any law enforcement. They're not prosecuting prostitution or drug crimes. And a lot of other crimes are being downgraded from serious, felonies down to misdemeanors where there's no cash bail. Here in Texas, the legislature has to remove a DA that isn't doing his or her job. In Florida, it's different, right? Does the governor have the power? Do you have the power?
In Florida, the governor has the power to suspend from office these DAs, or we call them state attorneys here, people that are not doing their job, people that are violating their oath of office. And in fact, the governor has certainly pulled the trigger a couple times. Tampa was one of the more well-known. It was a Soros-backed prosecutor. He was not prosecuting many cases. Law enforcement in Hillsborough County, even many Democrats, they were fed up with this guy because they're sticking their neck out. They're putting their life on the line. They're bringing in criminals. And then those cases are either getting dropped or there's some sort of favorable plea deal that lets people back out on the streets quickly. So the governor suspended him. He's done it on several occasions across the state. I'm watching. When people aren't following the law, they hear from me pretty quickly. And I put them on notice that if they keep up the bad behavior and abdicating responsibility, there will be hell to pay. So we pay attention. We enforce rule of law. And if prosecutors in this state don't want to prosecute cases, we show them a brown box in the door.
Good. Now, do you have the ability as the attorney general to go in and prosecute on a state level, or does it have to go through that process where the governor gets rid of the person, puts somebody else in there that will prosecute? Because again, here in Texas, Ken Paxton cannot go and prosecute if the local DA won't.
I have some oversight authorities.
Okay.
I can take cases that expand beyond circuit boundaries and cover a larger region of the state. We do have a very large prosecution shop here in the AG's office. But when it comes to a local state attorney abdicating responsibility, that power is reserved to the governor to suspend, and ultimately our state legislature, our Senate, to confirm removal. But we pay attention, and people, they've been put on notice in this state. And we see more people doing their job, and if they don't, they know we're watching.
You know, my mom still lives down there in the house where I grew up, and my sisters are still there, so I appreciate what you're doing for the state of Florida, and certainly for the United States. It's James Uthemeier. He's the Florida Attorney General. James, come back again soon. I appreciate you.
Thank you again for having me. Would love to be back.
All right, brother. Appreciate that. We're back after this. Stay right here.
Joe Pags.
Clear.
One in the chat, one in the chat, one in the chat. Let's go. Appreciate you hanging out. Make sure that you take a look at being a sub if you're watching on Twitch or on Rumble. You can do gift subs on both platforms. On YouTube, it can be a membership. Thank you, Taco. And you can also do gift memberships. Plus, we like the Rumble rants and the YouTube super chats. Get you a shout out, and I'll read what you say. Thank you, Bill. Appreciate that. Glad you guys liked it. Again, we're seeing if we can build a live audience over on YouTube. Appreciate you hanging out. Make sure you make plans Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And share it with people if it's pretty good. I appreciate James Uthemeier coming up and coming on today. We're going to put Markwayne Mullin and James Uthemeier together on an Unshaken and Unafraid with Joe Pags. I'll probably post that tonight if not tomorrow during the day. And then we've got a great sit-down with Tony Gonzalez, U.S. Representative, that will probably the entire thing I will put up this weekend. You'll get the first 15 to 17 minutes of it tomorrow on the radio show. He's got the largest border district in the entire country in the House of Representatives, and he's got an update on exactly what's going on the border, and the update is a very, very positive thing if you want our sovereignty to matter. That's going to do it for tonight. That is Sam. That is Polo. I am Joe. Glad that you're along for the ride. Go to joepags.com. All stuff about the show, joepags.com/. Then put in your favorite social name there. You'll go there as well. Keep it here.
You're listening to Joe Pags.
Clear.
All right, people, that is it for tonight. No Gabby tonight, so I'm going to sign off here on all three platforms. Remember to support the stream if you like what it is that we're laying down. We appreciate you hanging out. Go to joepags.com. Follow on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, everywhere. Make sure you do that as well. Y'all have a good night.